Chapter 407 The Mental Will Index has reached over 11,000 points. Overcoming the heart demon tribulation can be said to be without much difficulty. However, just to be safe and to prevent extreme scenarios from occurring, Lin Yuan still plans to face the heart demon tribulation in the world traversal. Over the 2 million plus years of Starry Sea era, the great evolutionary scholars of human civilization have conducted detailed research on the heart demon tribulation. Some scholars believe that the heart demon faced during the breakthrough to the 8th layer comes from the outside world and is the aggregation of the negative emotions of the countless living beings. There are also scholars who believe that the so-called heart demon comes from the obsessions of the evolver themselves. As for which one it actually is, there is still no consensus to this day. Lin Yuan chose to face the heart demon in the transversal world with the first situation in mind. The heart demon comes from outside. If it really is like that, and Lin Yuan senses something amiss and feels that he cannot overcome the heart demon tribulation, he can totally rely on the door to the myriad realms to escape back to the main world. Even if the heart demon is strong, it's not possible for it to cross into another dimensional plane to pursue him to the main world. Of course, with Lin Yuan's current mental will index of over 11,000 points, he doesn't believe that this possibility will occur, but one must always leave room for contingencies. Start. Lin Yuan's consciousness sunk into the depths of his mind. He looked towards that majestic and grand door to the myriad realms. The world-breaking origin force accumulated has now reached 7 strands. Lin Yuan checked the amount of world-breaking origin force he had. With the Yin God's continuous assistance at the eternal spatial rift in the different species battlefields, it only took 290 days to accumulate 1 strand of world-breaking origin force. Spending 1 strand of world-breaking origin force for peace of mind is not a loss. Lin Yuan thought to himself. For this traversal, Lin Yuan's main target was to overcome the heart demon tribulation. As for continuing his cultivation, comprehending rules, perfecting the martial path evolutionary path, all of those could wait. Traversal. Lin Yuan directly consumed 1 strand of world-breaking origin force, his will surging into the door to the myriad realms. This old man, all added up, doesn't have much meat on him. Having some is better than none. At least we can stew some soup. Sigh, it has come to this, but the girl I saw today, she sure looked refreshing and delightful. Refreshing? What does that matter? In these times, even the most delightful charm isn't worth a pound of grain. Lin Yuan faintly heard some voices. Although he couldn't understand the language, instinctively, he could comprehend it. His consciousness had just awakened not long ago, and he hadn't fully acclimated yet, so he could only quietly listen to the conversation outside. After more than a dozen breaths, Lin Yuan's consciousness finally stabilized. The Greater Yan Empire? The end of the dynasty? Warlords in chaos? The people in dire straits? Lin Yuan quickly absorbed the memories of his original body and understood his circumstances. The level of this world wasn't very high, at least from his original Bodhis memories. Even those powerful beings who could fight against hundreds were extremely rare. The Greater Yan Empire had ruled the world for nearly 500 years, and by now it was thoroughly decayed. With the uprising of various righteous armies, the entire empire was on the brink of collapse. The reason for such a situation was that the common people simply could not survive. Ongoing disasters and the court's taxes, which grew heavier each year. It had already reached the point where people were eating each other. Just like Lin Yuan at this moment, who was treated as meat and even complained about for having too little of it. My body now. Lin Yuan sensed his body and frowned slightly, first noticing the age. The original body was over 60 years old, with severely declined bodily functions, plus a long time in a state of starvation. At this moment, even standing up was somewhat difficult. After contemplating for a while, he remembered from his memories that the original body was a small property owner. However, as chaos reigned and warlords attacked, the original body had been forced to flee with household servants. But shortly after escaping, they encountered a band of refugees. All valuables were robbed, and he barely managed to escape, only to end up here soon after. Lin Yuan rested for a moment and, leveraging his powerful spirit will, managed to stimulate his blood flow and recover somewhat. This plane of existence? Lin Yuan looked around. From the moment his consciousness woke to now, he hadn't felt a single trace of nature's spiritual energy or primordial qi. The age of Dharma decline? Lin Yuan surmised in his heart. Meanwhile, name, Chen, Lin Yuan, identity, holder of the Myriad Realms Gate. Bound talent, Heaven-defying comprehension, divine power, blood resurrection. Current state, consciousness descent. Remaining residence time, 30 years. Only 30 years of residence time? So, the world of my residence depends on the level of the world, not on my own realm? Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. In his previous 6 traversals, Lin Yuan's residence time grew longer with each, leading him to believe that the residence time in the transversal world was related to his own realm. The higher the realm, the longer the residence time. But now it seems to depend on the level of the world he has traversed into. After all, this current world is probably just a low martial world or even a non-martial world, likely weaker than the world he first traversed into, hence just 30 years of residence time. The traversal performed by consuming a strand of world-breaking origin force is completely random. In the previous 6 times, I was lucky, so each world I traversed into was helpful for my output. But this time, I'm lacking the luck of before, Lin Yuan silently thought. However, the level of the world traversed this time did not impact Lin Yuan's main objective much. In fact, the weaker the traversed world, the happier Lin Yuan was, because if the analysis of those great evolutionary scholars from human civilization was correct, the heart demons of the heart demon tribulation, emerging from the negative emotions of countless living beings, then the heart demons congealed from the negative emotions of countless beings in the main world, would definitely be vastly different from the heart demons of this low-level martial world. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 408 There's simply no comparison. For Lin Yuan to face the heart demon tribulation here was equivalent to lowering the difficulty. Facing the heart demon tribulation has nothing to do with the physical soul. What the heart demon targets is not the physical soul, but the spirit will. As long as one's realm is sufficient, they can induce the descent of the heart demon at any time. There's no need for the physical soul to reach the 7th rank limit simultaneously. Lin Yuan thought to himself. To step into the 8th layer, one's physical soul needs to reach the limit of perfection. However, to transcend the heart demon tribulation, there are no such requirements. It is only necessary for one's realm to meet the standard. Even now, Lin Yuan could invoke the descent of the heart demon. Although the stay here is not long, spanning 30 years, there's no need to rush things. Lin Yuan scanned his surroundings, knowing that his current situation was not good. It would be problematic if while transcending the heart demon tribulation, someone disturbed his body in the outside world. Old man, what are you standing up for? Do you really think you could escape? Where could you possibly flee to? Just as Lin Yuan was adjusting his qi and blood, standing up to move his body, 2 burly men nearby also looked over at him. They were draped with butchering tools and surveyed Lin Yuan with ill intentions, as if looking at a sheep or pig to be slaughtered. Roll! Lin Yuan gave the 2 men a glance. Without using any power. Indeed, he couldn't use any power at the moment since Lin Yuan had only just regained consciousness. He could only employ methods associated with spirit will. Boom. The moment the 2 burly men were glanced at by Lin Yuan, they felt as if the world had collapsed, their spirit as if crushed dozens of times over, resulting in a collapse of will, causing them to fall to the ground, convulsing uncontrollably. Their bodies were still alive, but their spirit will had collapsed. This was the advantage of having strong spirit will. A mere look could completely crush the opponent. Of course, the reason was also that the 2 burly men were too weak. If they were 6th or 7th rank evolvers, even if their spirit will was far inferior to Lin Yuan's, they would not have been so frail, protected by the physical soul. Let's go. Lin Yuan walked out unobstructed and leisurely. Along the way, some people attempted to stop him, but they all fell apart under Lin Yuan's gaze. Feebnol. Si Sigmiam with his current strength of spirit will, even if he were surrounded by millions of troops, he would still be able to stroll out leisurely. This was still when the physical body was fragile, greatly limiting the expression of Lin Yuan's spirit will. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had gone by. During these 10 years, Lin Yuan chose not to immediately undergo the heart demon tribulation, instead journeying across the world, observing all living beings as a bystander. The Greater Yan dynasty had been overrun by rebel armies in the 4th year after Lin Yuan's arrival, leading to its complete downfall. At this point, the world was in utter chaos, with various warlords taking turns on the stage. Eventually, a rising warlord waving the Great Chu flag campaigned from the south to the north. After 6 years, He put an end to the age of turmoil and established the Great Chu Empire. In a sunny valley, a dignified middle-aged man stood respectfully outside. He seemed to be waiting for something. If an outsider were present, they would realize that this middle-aged man was none other than the founder and emperor of the Great Chu Empire, the most revered person in the world. Yet now, the founder of the empire stood outside the valley with utmost respect, not daring any transgression. Then, a boy came out from the valley. "Immortal Master, are you willing to see me?" The middle-aged man immediately asked in a low voice upon seeing the boy. "You may leave. The master has said that there is no significant kindness between you two. It is not something you should mind," the boy said solemnly. "No significant kindness." The middle-aged man's face fell, lost in thought. If it weren't for the immortal master's intervention, he would have perished at the hands of the rebel armies long ago and would never have established such an empire. Although he had only followed the immortal master for a few years, the middle-aged man was acutely aware that the immortal master was a genuine immortal being, and ordinary matters never caught his attention. Even his position as emperor of the Great Chu Empire was merely a result of being casually nurtured by the immortal master. "Yes." The middle-aged man took a deep breath and said softly, "Please tell the immortal master that I will ensure Great Chu offers daily sacrifices to the immortal master's tablet." Inside the valley, Lin Yuan glanced at the departing middle-aged man but didn't care much about him. He was not from this world. All his actions were simply carried out as he saw fit. As the greater Yen perished and the world descended into chaos, Lin Yuan grew tired of it. Thus, he cultivated an emperor to stabilize the world, making it more pleasant to watch. Just that and nothing more. My spirit will index should be over 12,000 now, shouldn't it? Lin Yuan thought to himself. In the past 10 years, he had traveled the world, contemplative, and his spirit will had thus been enhanced. It's just that here, I can't feel the demon jade space? A sudden thought crossed Lin Yuan's mind. The moment Lin Yuan's consciousness descended and his memory synchronized, understanding the 3,333 evolutionary paths of the Tao, the magic jade mark naturally formed. In the main world, the instant the magic jade mark formed, Lin Yuan could feel that vast and mysterious expanse of the demon jade space. But here, he gained nothing. From this, it could be deduced that even the Moyu Tower Master was far inferior to the door to the myriad realms. Even the casual traversing of the door exceeded the perceptual limits of the demonic Jade Tower Master. Time passed by. In the blink of an eye, another 15 years had gone by. In these 15 years, the Great Chu Empire had entered a period of prosperity, with a significant increase in population. The founding emperor of Great Chu was praised by all the people. The founding emperor of Great Chu openly stated that everything he was doing now came from the guidance of the immortal master. Without the immortal master, there would be no him, and there would be no Great Chu Empire as it was now. The entire empire, from top to bottom, worshipped the immortal master's tablet day and night. Atop a mountain peak, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Unfortunately, this world is too weak. It's not even necessary to spread the martial path evolutionary path. Lin Yuan thought to himself. With the suppression of an age of Dhamma decline in this world, even if Lin Yuan spread the martial path evolutionary path, future martial Dao cultivators could at most only cultivate to the innate realm, equivalent to not even entering a rank. They simply could not touch upon the core essence of the martial path evolutionary path, thereby failing to offer any benefits to Lin Yuan. Of course, Lin Yuan had not given up on this world. In these 25 years, he wandered all over, etching the martial path evolutionary path onto special metals and spreading them to all corners of the world. One day, if this world should release its suppression, ending the age of Dharma decline, the martial path evolutionary path would undoubtedly be the first to rise. It is time to face the heart demon tribulation. Lin Yuan made up his mind. Though there were still 5 years left in his stay. But the past 25 years had already pushed the training of Lin Yuan's spirit will to its limits. Delaying further had lost its meaning. With this thought, Lin Yuan began to actively invite the heart demon. The heart demon tribulation descended. In a daze, Lin Yuan opened his eyes once more. He found himself inside a room. What is this? Before Lin Yuan could take a closer look, his mother Lu Qiong entered. Xiao Yuan, I've already asked your uncle, and he said he can remove your name from the mandatory conscription list. Lu Qiong said with apparent delight. Mandatory conscription list? Lin Yuan looked somewhat astonished. vaguely feeling that there was something wrong with this statement. Who would dare to forcefully conscript him? Yes, your uncle also said he found you a job in the government. Go see your uncle tomorrow. He will arrange everything. Xiao Yuan, your uncle is our family's benefactor. You must be polite when the time comes. Lu Qiong kept reminding him at the side. Once Xiao Yuan has a stable job, it'll be time to find a girlfriend. After you get married, to have children early, your father and I can help look after them. Those robots simply don't know how to care for children, it'd be better for us to do it. Lu Qiong began thinking about the future. Get married. Have children. In Lin Yuan's eyes, a starry sea vortex faintly surfaced. My journey is the vast starry sea. How could I be confined to a common planet? Lin Yuan stretched lazily, stood up, and laughed heartily. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 409. At this very moment, a vast spirit will coalesce within Lin Yuan, making him feel as if everything he saw was like an illusory bubble, easily popped with a touch. Rustle. In the instant Lin Yuan regained consciousness, his awareness began to sink once again. By the time Lin Yuan opened his eyes again, he had already arrived in the cosmic starry skies. The powerful aura of different species chased after him. Lin Yuan was clearly being hunted down. Ha ha ha, no matter if you are a peerless genius of human civilization, you will still die. The different species chasing behind him laughed maniacally. I am being chased? Lin Yuan frowned and subconsciously thought to continue fleeing for his life. The next moment, the vast spirit will once again coalesced inside him. This allowed Lin Yuan to instantly understand his situation. Just a heart demon. Lin Yuan stopped his escape as the illusionary realm around him began to collapse again. The essence of the heart demon tribulation is the heart demon itself. Evolvers, when facing the heart demon tribulation, will experience scenes they least wish to encounter, or ones they are most willing to encounter. For example, Lin Yuan was most concerned about being killed by the different species before he could grow. Normally, if one's spirit will is not up to standard, they would easily get lost in the layers upon layers of illusion, meaning a failure in transcending the heart demon tribulation. But a strong spirit will can allow an evolver to quickly wake up, or make the evolver realize that everything around them is an illusion, all fabricated. If they do, the probability of surpassing the heart demon tribulation greatly increases. Free web Nov. Calm in the blink of an eye, Lin Yuan shattered hundreds of heart demon illusions. With a change of scene, an insect race hive, rivaling a galaxy in size, appeared in the distance. 7th rank, 8th layer, and even 9th rank insect race warriors created by the hive charged out one after another. Is this an insect queen? A shock went through Lin Yuan's heart. The insect queen corresponded to a supreme being of human civilization. An insect queen could endlessly produce a vast number of 7th, 8th, and 9th rank insect race warriors. These insect race warriors, one-on-one, are definitely not a match for evolvers of the same rank. But they are endless in number, and the mere sight of millions of ordinary 8th layer insect race warriors would make even the Chikuan Star-Lord's scalp tingle. It's precisely for this reason that in the war between human civilization and the insect race, there is no advantage, rather a disadvantage, in the mid to low-end battles. Only at the level of supreme beings is the fight dominated by the human side, as the insect queens are suppressed by the supreme beings. This is because the insect queens are incapable of creating supreme being level warriors. The insect queen taking action against me personally is too far-fetched. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Even without a powerful spirit will, he felt the scene before him was somewhat absurd. The matriarchs were beings that could stand up to supreme beings. Even the evolvers, peerless geniuses of an era among humans, were not worth the effort of a matriarch's direct intervention, given their status and position. Booming. As the massive spirit will gathered, Lin Yuan once again crushed this layer of heart demon illusion. At the summit of a towering and majestic evolution tower, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, his aura now as deep as the cosmic starry sky, and wherever his gaze landed, it was within the boundaries of his own territory. Great Supreme Being, under your leadership, human civilization has become an unprecedented force in the cosmic starry sky, and clans like the insect race have submitted one after another, said an elder below, his voice filled with deep worship. Becoming a supreme being, leading human civilization to its peak, is something every human evolver desires to accomplish. At this moment, Lin Yuan was enduring the worship of countless humans, looking down from on high, like a deity. Too bad, it's all fake, Lin Yuan sighed. The scenes in all directions began to collapse, taking with them the invincible power that filled Lin Yuan's body as well. Atop a high mountain, Lin Yuan silently opened his eyes. The heart demon tribulation has ended. Lin Yuan's gaze was profound, as if he had broken through some kind of shackles, and his spiritual realm suddenly began to sublimate. My current realm has reached the 8th layer. There are 3 prerequisites to becoming an 8th layer evolver. One is the heart demon tribulation, the second is the inner world, and the third is the physical soul reaching the pinnacle of perfection. Without transcending the heart demon tribulation, one will always be just a 7th layer at its pinnacle. Even if both the inner world and physical soul meet the requirements, it is useless. Because the realm cannot be elevated. Only after passing through the heart demon tribulation is it possible to ascend smoothly to the 8th layer in terms of realm. After that, if the inner world is opened and the physical soul reaches perfection, one can formally step into the 8th layer. End the traversal. Lin Yuan glanced at the remaining residence time. 5 years were left. The countless layers of heart demon illusions Lin Yuan experienced in the heart demon tribulation were but an instant in reality. As for the remaining 5 years of traversing worlds, there was no need to spend them here. The most important thing for Lin Yuan now was to fully step into the 8th layer. On the Chicoan main star, Lin Yuan opened his eyes. Rustle. A large amount of red spirit fluid appeared in front of him. Years ago, Lin Yuan began preparing for his ascent to the 8th layer, and of course, he hadn't forgotten the red spirit fluid. Breakthrough. Lin Yuan closed his eyes. Booming. First came the expansion of the inner world, which began to expand wildly once more. The inner world, originally 13,000 li in radius, suddenly surged to a radius of 25,000 li. The explosive expansion of the inner world didn't cause much commotion. Previously, when Lin Yuan expanded his inner world from 10 plus li to a radius of 12,000 li, a 10,000-fold increase, Lin Yuan could not control it perfectly, so he asked the Chicoan Star Lord for help in concealing it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 410 But now, expanding from a radius of 13,000 miles to 25,000 miles. Although the increase surpassed the former, the base was much stronger. Lin Yuan was fully capable of containing it himself. The Crimson Palace. Chicoan Star Lord was instructing the Great Peak Master. On the verge of advancing to the 8th layer, the Great Peak Master was about to oversee the star domain. As his teacher, Chicoan Star Lord would naturally bestow upon him some trumps for later use. Teacher, rest assured, I will be cautious, he said. The Great Peak Master nodded, knowing that Chicoan Star Lord was looking after him. I wonder among my disciples, who will be the next to break through to the 8th layer? Chicoan Star Lord sighed with a hint of emotion. The second disciple? The third disciple? Or the junior disciple? The Great Peak Master ventured a guess. Among the students of the Chicoan Star Lord, only these 3 were at the 7th rank. Who do you think it will be? Chicoan Star Lord asked with interest. In terms of talent, the junior disciple is definitely the strongest. However, to step into the 8th layer, spirit will is very important, requiring the accumulation of many years. The second disciple has almost accumulated enough. Once he advances to the king level, he should be able to attempt to open his inner world and then surge to the 8th layer. The Great Peak Master analyzed calmly. It wasn't that he underestimated the junior disciple, but the enhancement of the spirit will index indeed required a lot of time. How old was the junior disciple? Not even 100 years old yet. What you say makes sense. Upon hearing this, Chicoan Star Lord contemplated for a while and then nodded in agreement. Only, Chicoan Star Lord had yet to finish speaking. He seemed to sense something. He looked in a certain direction, full of astonishment. Has someone broken through to the 8th layer? The Great Peak Master also sensed it and looked towards the source of the breakthrough. Although Lin Yuan could conceal the disturbances caused by the expansion of his inner world, the breakthrough from the 7th rank to the 8th rank itself, involving fluctuations of the origin rule, could not be concealed. The junior disciple? The Great Peak Master widened his eyes. The source of the breakthrough was at the 13 peaks. Currently, on the 13 peaks, only the junior disciple had the capacity to break through to the 8th layer. As for those 7th rank guards, if these guards were about to break through to the 8th layer, they would definitely report to the Star Lord in advance. Damn! The big brother gaped, having only just analyzed with his teacher who the next ordinary 8th rank disciple would be, and now the junior disciple had immediately broken through to the 8th layer? That wasn't the point. The point was, how old was the junior disciple? He got to the 7th rank not long ago, and now the 8th? This disciple of mine, Chiquan Star-Lord, was also lost in a whirl of thoughts. The great Peak Master thought the next to enter the 8th layer would be the second Peak Master, but he didn't agree. Compared to the great Peak Master, Chiquan Star-Lord was aware of Lin Yuan's cultivation progress and his nearly 8th layer peak inner world. With such a vast inner world, Lin Yuan's physical soul and mental will would strengthen slowly, until close to the peak of the 8th layer. Here, the 8th layer peak referred to the peak of the physical soul, though the realm would still be at the 7th rank. But in Chiquan Star-Lord's view, even if Lin Yuan were to enter the 8th layer, it was a matter for decades or even centuries later. And now he had just achieved that? Meanwhile, the stir caused by Lin Yuan's breakthrough to the 8th layer was massive and began to affect the entire Chiquan main star. Not long ago, when Big Brother broke through to the 8th layer, Lin Yuan sensed it from a great distance, as from the 7th to the 8th layer would cause a fluctuation of the origin rule, making it difficult to conceal. Almost instantly, numerous 6th rank and 7th rank evolvers on Chiquan main star were stirred up. Has another Peak Master become an 8th layer? The Great Peak Master became the 8th layer not long ago, and now another Peak Master follows closely behind? Our Chiquan star domain, indeed, has been producing mighty figures recently. The countless evolvers on the Chiquan main star were all somewhat dumbfounded. That's odd. I met with the 2nd and 3rd Peak Masters not long ago. They were going out on a trip soon and should not be on Chiquan main star right now. Which means among the Peak Masters present on the main star right now, only the 13 Peak Master is at the 7th rank? Could it be that the 13 Peak Master has broken through to the 8th layer? This guess left all evolvers somewhat bewildered. Any rational evolver could understand. The 13 Peak Master had only just announced stepping into the 7th rank. How could he possibly reach the 8th so swiftly? Do you really think cultivating is as easy as eating and drinking? Currently, only the Peak Master of Xianxia is on the main star with conditions favorable for a breakthrough to the 8th layer, as the 2nd and the 3rd Peak Masters are not present. Perhaps those 7th rank king-level guards also have the conditions to break through to the 8th layer, but if a king-level guard were to break through, they would be sent by the Star Lord to a specialized breakthrough planet, certainly not on the main star. After considering all possibilities, only the Peak Master of Xianxia meets the criteria. I have already contacted the 2nd and 3rd Peak Masters, and they are indeed not on the main star right now, said a 7th rank king-level evolver. Upon these words being spoken, immediately, turmoil erupted. Because this meant that the evolver currently transitioning to the 8th layer could only be the Peak Master of Xianxia. If not the Peak Master of Xianxia, could it be those who are merely 6th layer Peak Masters? The breakthrough is progressing smoothly. He has now completely entered the 8th layer. The 7th rank evolvers carefully sensed that the breakthrough from the 7th to the 8th layer could face several potential difficulties, such as not overcoming the heart demon tribulation or not opening up an inner world. Any of these potential failures would cause the signs of a breakthrough to abruptly stop. But now, the breakthrough aura they sensed was incredibly smooth, flowing like a stream without any pauses. If it truly is the Peak Master of Xianxia stepping into the 8th layer, then his potential is terrifying, they said. In the future, even if he cannot break through to the 9th rank, he will at least be as invincible in the 8th as the Star Lord. Even less experienced 7th rank evolvers could see that the future lower limit for the Peak Master of Xianxia was to be invincible in the 8th layer like the Chiquan Star Lord. As for the upper limit, that was unclear. It might be the 9th or even the 10th rank. While countless evolvers on the main star were discussing and speculating, the news about yet another 8th rank evolver emerging from the Chiquan lineage began to spread like a hurricane in all directions. Especially since this newly advanced 8th rank evolver was likely the youngest Peak Master of Xianxia, it incited almost frenzied intense discussions. One young star domain. On the surface of a permanent star, a black-haired elder appeared. Your Highness, Your Highness. The black-haired elder began to call out. Almost 10 years ago, the Wanyang Holy Sun had made up his mind, risking his life to train inside the core of a permanent star. because only by doing so could he fully leverage his innate potential to advance to the 7th rank as quickly as possible, and catch up with the peak master of Xianxia from the Qikuan lineage. How proud was the Wanyang holy son! Suffering successive setbacks from the peak master of Xianxia, his heart was nearly overflowing with dejection. At the call of the black-haired elder, a fiery red crystal stone flew out from deep within the star. The crystal stone hovered before the black-haired elder, beginning to melt, and the Wanyang holy son stepped out from it. "What exactly is it?" he asked. "Didn't I say not to disturb me unless it was a matter of utmost importance?" The Wanyang holy son frowned deeply. He had planned to continue his seclusion for 200 years. Yet now, less than 10 years in, he was called out, which greatly displeased him. "Your Highness, this is very good news, tremendously good news," the black-haired elder said with a smile, quickly mentioning the incident involving a part of a supreme being's body from outside the main world. "A body of a supreme being? Available for us to comprehend, and as long as we understand the supreme evolution path, we have a chance to become a supreme being?" The Wanyang holy son's eyes burnt with a flickering flame. If this were true, then comprehending that part of the body would be better than secluding himself within the star. "A body of a supreme being, I do not expect to understand the supreme evolution path, but just understanding 1 in a billionth of its mysteries should help me ascend to the 7th rank," he said. The Wanyang holy son's heart was ablaze. According to his estimate, staying secluded within the star and facing near-death experiences would allow him to foreseeably reach the 7th rank in 200 years. However, by studying the body of a supreme being, perhaps he could reach the 7th rank in just 100 years. In only 100 years, how far could the peak master of Xianxia advance at the 7th layer? He would have more hope of catching up. By then, the Wanyang holy son was excited, knowing that once he reached the 7th rank, being in the same great realm as the peak master of Xianxia and relying on his 9-young divine meridian physique, he guessed he wouldn't be too far behind. Just as the Wanyang holy son was filled with hope and about to eagerly apply to study that part of the body, the black-haired elder's expression subtly changed. His consciousness was continuously connected to the virtual world, ensuring he could be aware of any latest information. "Your Highness," the black-haired elder delicately glanced at the ambitious Wanyang holy son and whispered, "There's some bad news." "Bad news?" The Wanyang holy son glanced at the black-haired elder, indifferently asking, "What bad news?" "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 4:11. If you have something to say, just say it. Seeing the black-haired elder hem and haw, Wanyang holy son did not blame him. Now that he saw hope in catching up with the 13 Peaks Peak Master, comprehending a part of a supreme being's body would definitely stir his emotions. Then, with the support of his own 9-young divine meridian, stepping into the 7th rank within a century was no joke. As for the 8th layer that came after the 7th rank, Wanyang holy son had yet to consider it, as the 8th layer was still too far away for him. Mental will index, inner world, flesh-soul perfection, etc., none was yet fulfilled. Currently, Wanyang holy son's gaze was entirely focused on the 7th rank. As long as he could step into the 7th rank, he would have narrowed the gap with the 13 Peaks Peak Master. "Rest assured, there's no bad news right now that can shake my spirit." Seeing the black-haired elder still hesitating, Wanyang holy son spoke calmly. With newfound hope, Wanyang holy son felt his spirit will had also improved. The so-called living through long years and tempering one's spirit will is essentially experiencing great ups and downs. Life and death crises are the same. Upon hearing that the 13 Peaks Peak Master had stepped into the 7th rank, Wanyang holy son once fell into despair and even risked his life to cultivate in seclusion within a star. This was the fall. And now, having learned that there was a supreme being's body to comprehend, the possibility of catching up with the 13 Peaks Peak Master in the future was the rise. Great falls and great rises are just that. It's bad news related to the 13 Peaks Peak Master, the black-haired elder said tentatively, knowing how much Wanyang holy son longed to catch up with the 13 Peaks Peak Master. But the news he had just received, to Wanyang holy son, was perhaps too cruel. The 13 Peaks Peak Master? Wanyang holy son's expression became slightly more solemn. Bad news related to the 13 Peaks Peak Master? Could it be that the adversary has already stepped into the peak of the 7th rank king level? That really isn't good news. In such a short time, to progress from the early stage of the 7th rank to the king level peak, befitting of the 13 Peaks Peak Master he was chasing after. At this rate, 100 years later, wouldn't the 13 Peaks Peak Master have the hope to step into the 7th rank marquee level? By then, even if everything goes smoothly for him, he would only be at the beginning of the 7th rank. The gap between him and the 13 Peaks Peak Master would still be considerable. At the thought, Wanyang Holy Sun couldn't help feeling the pressure. I've received a message. The 13 Peaks Peak Master, he seems to have stepped into the 8th layer. The black-haired elder mustered up his courage to convey the news he had just received. Even if he didn't mention it, as long as Wanyang Holy Sun connected to the virtual network, he would still find out. The 13 Peaks Peak Master stepped into the 8th layer. What did you say? Stepped into which layer? Wanyang Holy Sun, still mulling over how he was going to advance swiftly towards the 7th rank marquee level 100 years later, almost thought he was hallucinating when he heard the black-haired elder's words. The 8th layer? The 13 Peaks Peak Master stepped into the 8th layer? Wanyang Holy Sun's mind was muddled. It wasn't until the black-haired elder repeated himself several times that Wanyang Holy Sun barely recovered. Where did this news come from? Enjoy new adventures from Empire. Wanyang Holy Sun's first reaction was disbelief. The transition from 7th to 8th rank is a major bottleneck. If the 13 Peaks Peak Master had already been at the 7th rank king level peak before he entered seclusion, it would be normal now to have broken through to the 8th layer. But it's well known that the 13 Peaks Peak Master just stepped into the 7th rank not long ago. To cross these 3 great thresholds, spirit will, inner world, flesh-soul perfection, in such a short time? Is this still human? Is this still human? Your Highness, this news was transmitted from the Chikuan main star. A fluctuation of aura that signals a breakthrough from the 7th rank to the 8th layer was detected on the central continent of the main star, and only the 13 Peaks Peak Master fits the conditions for this breakthrough from the 7th rank to the 8th layer. The black-haired elder spoke truthfully. In that case, could it be a mistaken transmission? Wanyang Holy Sun immediately asked. He truly did not want to believe that the 13 Peaks Peak Master had already stepped into the 8th layer. That made his previous life-risking seclusion seem laughably foolish. Still chasing the 13 Peaks Peak Master? With what will he chase him? There is indeed a possibility of a mistaken transmission. The black-haired elder thought for a moment and then nodded. Your Highness, if the 13 Peaks Peak Master has truly broken through to the 8th layer, the Red Kuan lineage will soon issue a public announcement, and by then everything will be clear, he said. Then let's wait. Wanyang Holy Sun fell silent for a while and then spoke. Okay. We wait. The black-haired elder nodded. Chikuan main star. 13 peaks. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. At this moment, his aura was incredibly profound, like a celestial body, beginning to influence the surroundings. An evolver at the 8th layer, whose physical soul had undergone ultimate metamorphosis and with an inner world unfolded. If one didn't contain their aura, indeed, there was little difference between them and the cosmic celestial bodies. Is this the 8th layer? Lin Yuan carefully felt the brand new power within him. Although at the 7th rank with his vast inner world, Lin Yuan could crush most of those at the 8th layer. That was merely suppression of power, but the subtleties of the realm, Lin Yuan was now experiencing. The greatest trump card of an 8th layer evolver is the inner world, but that's not to say that 8th layer evolvers possess only inner world techniques. The cultivation at the 8th layer mainly divides into 4 stages. The early stage, the middle stage, the late stage, and the peak stage. Lin Yuan clearly knew how the road ahead should be traversed. In fact, the 8th layer has a 5th stage. That is the invincible state of the 8th layer. Essentially, the invincibly at the 8th layer still belongs to the 4th stage. The invincible evolvers at the 8th layer, such as the Chikuan Starlord, Golden Dragon Starmaster, Wanyang Starlord, and others, have mastered some form of power that transcends the 8th layer. With this power, the invincible ones can crush all 8th layer evolvers. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 412. Of course, among the invincibles of the 8th layer, there were subtle differences in strength, but in a one-on-one, one side could hardly defeat the other. This was also the reason why such beings were known as the 8th layer invincibles. Unless a 9th rank intervened, the 8th layer invincibles stood on an undefeated ground. Even facing a group of 8th layer invincibles attacking together, they could easily retreat unscathed. Teacher, as an 8th layer invincible, possesses a power that transcends the 8th layer, which must be related to the starry sky wanderer Kuan, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Every 8th layer invincible was unique, unable to master completely identical powers. Lin Yuan slightly felt the changes within himself, then stood up and walked out of the Grand Hall. Outside the Grand Hall, Qikuan Starlord and the Great Peak Master had been waiting for a long time. At the moment of Lin Yuan's breakthrough, Qikuan Starlord was the first to know, followed by the Great Peak Master. My dear disciple, have you just stepped into the 8th layer? Qikuan Starlord carefully sized up Lin Yuan and shook his head slightly, saying, When I entered the 8th layer, think about how many years it took me? 8,000 years? Or 10,000 years? As a peak lineage with a special life essence inherently possessing an inner world, Qikuan Starlord's advancement to the 8th layer was far easier than it was for human evolvers. Teacher, I've been at the 7th rank for nearly 100,000 years. Compared to the junior brother, I feel like I've lived these years in vain. The Great Peak Master said with a slight grievance. He had long understood that comparing himself to a monster like his junior brother was simply asking for trouble. But seeing how easily his junior brother entered the 8th layer, the great senior brother couldn't help but feel bitter inside. However, that's what the Great Peak Master said, but he still felt fortunate inside that he had stepped into the 8th layer a step earlier. Otherwise, wouldn't he have been surpassed by his junior brother? Teacher, senior brother. Lin Yuan looked toward Qikuan Starlord and the Great Peak Master, smiling. Junior brother, how do you feel now? The Great Peak Master asked. Very special. Lin Yuan squinted and sensed. How about I and the senior brother collide with the force of the world? This will make you more familiar with the power of the 8th layer level. The senior brother said eagerly. When he just stepped into the 8th layer, Qikuan Starlord had used the power of his inner world to leave him an extremely deep impression. Although owning the power of one's own world was indeed very helpful, the experience was exceptionally memorable. A collision using the force of the world. Qikuan Starlord glanced at the Great Peak Master but said nothing. Sure. Eweb novel. Calm Lin Yuan nodded. Speaking of it, he had established his inner world at the peak of the 6th rank, on the verge of breaking into the 7th rank, but he had yet to exchange blows with other 8th layer evolvers. Now with his senior brother taking the initiative to spar, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't refuse. Junior brother, you should be careful, although I also stepped into the 8th layer not long ago after all, I have been familiar with it for some time. The senior brother reminded, understanding that perhaps this was his last chance to be on equal footing with his junior. After some time with the junior brother's talent and capability, he would surely be left far behind. Rumble, rumble. The Great Peak Master stirred slightly, the invisible force of the world enveloping around, the terrifying world force, even when suppressed and converged, could easily crush 6th and 7th rank evolvers. Ha! As the Great Peak Master stirred the power of his world, covering Lin Yuan, he felt as though he was covering a black hole. Rumble, rumble. A force far surpassing the Great Peak Master's world strength erupted centered around Lin Yuan, spreading in all directions. Me. The Great Peak Master's face changed. He felt this power limitless. His own world power was completely overwhelmed. The two weren't even on the same level. Stop, stop, stop. The Great Peak Master quickly shouted. This kind of world power? The Great Peak Master could hardly believe it. He recognized that the force crushing his world power was also the power of the world, but much stronger than his. Even though it didn't have the pressure brought by Qikuan Starlord, it was far superior to other 8th layer evolvers. Junior brother, just how profound is your inner world? His senior brother swallowed, knowing that the strength of the world power depended on the foundation of the inner world. Lin Yuan's world power being much stronger than his only demonstrated that his own inner world was far inferior. But wasn't Lin Yuan a recent breakthrough? The Great Peak Master was puzzled for a moment. It can only be attributed to being the junior apprentice brother indeed. All right, your junior apprentice brother has already held back with all his might, the Qikuan Starlord said, shaking his head. Having not yet stepped into the 8th layer, Lin Yuan's inner world spanned more than 100,000 miles. Now it has at least doubled. Competing with a Great Peak Master, whose inner world was less than 200 miles, if Lin Yuan had not held back, the latter would have been suppressed instantly. Held back with all his might? Is there such a thing as holding back with all one's might? Great Peak Master muttered in his heart, but knowing the teacher would not deceive him, realized that even though his own junior brother had just advanced to the 8th layer, his strength had already surpassed his own. All right, my good disciple, for now familiarize yourself with the realm of the 8th layer, and we will discuss the rest later, the Chikuan Star Lord advised. Also, I will have someone announce your advancement to the 8th layer, the Chikuan Star Lord stated. Mainly those old friends, who kept sending messages to confirm whether it was indeed Xianxia, the Peak Master, who had advanced to the 8th layer. Thank you, teacher, Lin Yuan said, nodding. The news of Lin Yuan stepping into the 8th layer was quickly confirmed through an announcement released by the Red Kuan lineage. Mainly because there was no need to hide it anymore. As one of the strongest among the Peak clans, human civilization possessed the Resurrection card. When advancing from the 5th to the 6th rank, the life essence isn't strong enough. Hence the need for secrecy arises, since even the most talented 5th rank evolvers do not meet the resurrection criteria. If they died, they truly died. But for the 8th layer, not to mention the enormous cost a different species would need to pay to assassinate an 8th layer member, since most human civilizations' 8th layer evolvers possess the doppelganger skill. Even if the assassination were successful, a supreme being would resurrect them. Resurrecting an 8th layer individual is not a significant drain for a supreme being. Of course, for supreme beings, even the smallest drain is considered significant by lower evolvers. Those talented individuals from strong clans need to be cautious because their clans do not have supreme beings. If they need resurrection, they must seek help from Peak clans. Whether or not the supreme being from a Peak clan is willing to resurrect someone is another matter altogether. The Red Kuan lineage has issued the announcement. It is indeed the Xianxia Peak Master who advanced to the 8th layer. My God, how old is Xianxia Peak Master to be at the 8th layer already? When I was as old as Xianxia Peak Master, I was still playing at the 1st or 2nd layer. Star alliances were shaken, and while some had doubted the possibility of some mix-up, without the Red Kuan lineage's announcement, it couldn't be certain that it was Xianxia Peak Master who had advanced. But now, it's pretty much confirmed. Wanyang Star Domain. The Wanyang Holy Sun was closely monitoring the activities of the Red Kuan lineage. Almost immediately upon the release of the announcement, he was informed. Is it truly Xianxia Peak Master who has stepped into the 8th layer? The Wanyang Holy Sun thought to himself silently. In fact, during the waiting period, he had almost accepted it. Seeing the announcement merely brought relief. Your Highness, are you all right? The dark-haired elder asked with a tone of concern. Even he was incredulous when he learned that Xianxia Peak Master had advanced to the 8th layer. Continue reading stories on Empire, let alone Wanyang Holy Sun, who had set Xianxia Peak Master as his target. Your Highness, you really don't need to chase after Xianxia Peak Master. Sometimes these prodigies are unreasonable, the dark-haired elder tried to comfort his lord. I understand, Wanyang Holy Sun sighed. If Xianxia Peak Master were still at the 7th rank, even at 7th rank king level, Wanyang Holy Sun would feel immense pressure. But now that Xianxia Peak Master had stepped into the 8th layer, Wanyang Holy Sun suddenly felt the burden lift off his shoulders because from now on, there was no point in even trying to catch up to Xianxia. Because he could not catch up. Chikuan Main Star. At the first mountain peak, new member Feng Yu, looking at the announcement from the Red Kuan lineage, fell silent. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 413. Feng Yu sat quietly, reading the announcement over and over again. The Peak Master of Xianxia has stepped into the 8th layer. Feng Yu's mind kept flashing with this information, and his heart felt increasingly suffocated. Thinking back to when he had refused the invitation of the Peak Master of Xianxia, Feng Yu faintly felt a certain choking sensation. If the Peak Master of Xianxia had never invited him to join the 13 peaks, Feng Yu would not have this feeling. Of so many challengers, only 2 had caught the eye of the Peak Master in the end. But he had clearly been one of the chosen by the Peak Master of Xianxia too. If he had not refused at that time, then now he would probably also be a disciple of the Peak Master of Xianxia. My choice at that time, given the situation then, was not wrong. Feng Yu steadied his spirit, and his mind began to replay incessantly. During the test in 7-Star Cave, the Peak Master of Xianxia was only at 7th rank, while the Great Peak Master was already at 8th layer. Even if the Peak Master of Xianxia held the hope of stepping into the 8th layer, it was just that, hope. To abandon a vague hope and choose the more practical Great Peak Master was not a mistake. Who would have thought that the Peak Master of Xianxia would step into the 8th layer so quickly? Feng Yu sighed. It wasn't just him. Across the entire Qikuan star domain, the entire Anan Star Alliance, who would have thought the peak master of Shursan could have broken through so quickly? No, that's not right. I should have been able to foresee this. Didn't Mo Li foresee it? Feng Yu muttered to himself. Mo Li is a churd, and I still remember the look of surprise on his face when he learned I had chosen the great peak master over the peak master of Shursan. Mo Li knew right from the start that the peak master of Shursan had boundless potential. Feng Yu looked up at the sky. But Mo Li came from a 7th rank force. Even if he made the wrong choice, it wouldn't have much of an impact. I couldn't be sure. My clan needed me to make the most advantageous choice as quickly as possible. And at that time, the best choice for me was the great peak master. Feng Yu shook his head. Alas, there is no such opportunity anymore. Feng Yu's mood fell. He understood that he had missed the most important opportunity of his life. That was to join under the banner of the peak master of Shursan. Even Feng Yu realized that the peak master of Shursan being able to step into the 8th layer before the age of 100 suggested that his future achievements could indeed be said to be boundless. The 13 peaks. Mo Li and Wu Lan were utterly baffled. The peak master has stepped into the 8th layer? Freeweb novel. Come so quickly. Mo Li blinked his eyes. Originally, he felt extremely excited to have joined under the banner of the peak master of Shursan. He had placed his hopes on the peak master of Shursan eventually stepping into the 8th layer, and by clinging to this powerful support, he would benefit endlessly. But who could have expected that this day would come so swiftly? 8th layer. Wu Lan held her tongue, hesitating. She simply felt that it was amazing for their peak master to step into the 8th layer, not quite understanding what it meant, nor foreseeing how the situation in the surrounding star domains and even the Star Alliance would change because of Lin Yuan. She was only at 3rd rank and lacked any significant background. The fact that she could become a disciple of the peak master of Shursan was entirely due to luck. Of course, it wasn't entirely due to luck. Being able to achieve a top 10 ranking in the planet's tournament also played a part in her strength. Fools have their own kind of fortune. Mo Li glanced at Wu Lan. He went to great lengths to perform at his best during the test in 7-Star Cave, all for the purpose of becoming a disciple of the peak master of Shursan. But Wu Lan, just an ordinary silver-patterned person, was also chosen by the peak master of Shursan, achieving the result he had struggled so hard to attain. Mo Li couldn't help but feel that sometimes luck is also a crucial factor. At least for Wu Lan, becoming a disciple under the banner of the peak master of Shursan would undoubtedly secure her a not-so-low status in the future. Deep inside the Great Hall, Lin Yuan was sensing the changes within himself. The inner world has become more perfect, he noted. Lin Yuan's consciousness appeared within his inner world. When he had merged with 3 cosmic rare treasures previously, the inner world had already become largely perfected. But with Lin Yuan stepping into the 8th layer, the inner world not only expanded to cover an area of 250,000 li in radius but also seemed to have grown to maturity. Origin source. Lin Yuan observed carefully. In the Tianqing world, Lin Yuan, replacing the heart of heaven with his own, took the place of the world consciousness, becoming an existence akin to the heavenly Tao. But compared to this moment, there was a qualitative difference. Lin Yuan had controlled the Tianqing world with emphasis on control. But now, facing his inner world, Lin Yuan was able to merge with it completely. Primordial spirit. A thought from Lin Yuan. The Taiyang divine spirit emerged from within his body, sitting cross-legged facing Lin Yuan. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Terrible power of Taiyang surged within the Taiyang divine spirit. An endless supply of Taiyang power faintly forming a world of flames and gathering the understanding of space rules. The world of flames expanded rapidly, reaching a range of 200,000 li in an instant. After stepping into the 8th layer, even without relying on Yin-Yang Taiji, just using the Taiyang rule and space rules alone, I can create a world of flames, Lin Yuan thought quickly to himself. Tai-Yin and Taiyang merged into Taiji, perfecting the strength and lowering the difficulty of creating a minor world, allowing Lin Yuan to open up an inner world at the 6th rank peak. Find your next read on Empire now. As Lin Yuan had reached the 8th layer and continuously deepened his understanding over the years, the Taiyang rule was profoundly comprehended, such that even if the power of Taiyang was slightly extreme, from a high viewpoint, he could use the space rules to carve out a world of flames. However, in terms of the stability of the world, a pure world of flames certainly could not compare to a Taiji world. Door to the myriad realms? Lin Yuan seemed to sense something and immediately submerged his mind into the depths of his consciousness. He arrived at the majestic and grand door to the myriad realms. After stepping into the 8th layer, the door to the myriad realms has become a bit more solid, observed Lin Yuan carefully. As early as when he had stepped into the 6th rank, Lin Yuan knew that the door to the myriad realms he saw was nothing but a projection of the true door to the myriad realms. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 414 Meeting the Supreme Being, subscription requested. Underscore 2 At Lin Yuan's life level, he simply couldn't withstand the true door to the myriad realms. However, as Lin Yuan's strength continually increased and his life constantly transformed, the projection of the door to the myriad realms clearly began to solidify gradually. It's a pity that stepping into the 8th layer, the door to the myriad realms didn't reveal any extra functions. Lin Yuan felt somewhat disappointed, but he quickly cheered up. The assistance that the door to the myriad realms provided him was already significant enough. Without the door to the myriad realms, he might still be struggling on Kanglin's star. How could he possibly have attained such a lofty status now? I wonder what level of strength one needs to fully bear the door to the myriad realms? Lin Yuan thought to himself. At least the current 8th layer was far from sufficient, and the 9th rank was probably also doubtful. He continued observing the door to the myriad realms. After confirming that he hadn't missed anything, Lin Yuan's mind returned to reality. Demon Jade Space? Lin Yuan utilized the perception of the magic jade mark deep within his soul. He sensed a vast and boundless mysterious space, which Lin Yuan could enter with just a thought, as long as he wished, using the magic jade mark. Forget it. Although I'm not weaker than a peak 8th layer now, it's only in terms of combat power. My realm is still in the early stages of the 8th layer. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Entering the demon jade space required at least the utmost peak of the 8th layer. Lin Yuan planned to train for a while longer and make more preparations before considering entering it. After all, the magic jade mark had already condensed out, and the demon jade space was there. It wasn't going anywhere. Martial path evolutionary path. Finally, I can continue to perfect it. Lin Yuan's face showed a smile. Previously constrained by the heart demon tribulation and stuck at the 7th rank, he forcefully initiated the 8th stage martial Tao, where even with against heaven's understanding, the results had been half as effective. Therefore, Lin Yuan focused most of his energy on comprehending the space rules model and understanding the many evolution paths within that segment of the body. Now this restriction was lifted. The 8th stage of martial arts is extremely important. To be precise, all 8th layer parts of the evolution paths are very important. The 3 goddesses of human civilization consider whether one can open up a stable, complete 8th layer evolution path as a prerequisite for becoming an evolution scholar. Lin Yuan quietly thought to himself. Evolution scholars hold a special status in human civilization, being gems of the entire civilization. Take it slow. Opening the 8th stage martial Tao can't be rushed. Lin Yuan was very cautious. This was not only related to the potential of the martial path evolutionary path but also to his own potential. Virtual world. Lin Yuan's figure appeared at the mountain peak summit. That segment of the body? Lin Yuan raised his head, looking towards that segment of the body beneath the sky. After stepping into the 8th layer, Lin Yuan's realm was enhanced, and now contemplating that segment of the body gave him entirely different sensations. At the 7th layer, Lin Yuan observed that segment of the body, utilizing against heaven's understanding. It was about seeing the mountain as mountain, seeing the water as water. But now, Lin Yuan observing that segment of the body once again, it had become the case of seeing the mountain not as mountain, seeing the water not as water. Even starting from the top, the parts of the body that he had previously fully understood could still reveal entirely different evolution paths. Is this what being a supreme being is like? Merely a segment of a body that's been dead for who knows how many years. Can still give me a feeling of immense benefit. Lin Yuan was amazed internally, and this was still based on the foundation of against heaven's understanding. Supreme beings stand at the ultimate of a supreme evolution path. They fully comprehend the complete space rules, fully comprehend the complete rule of time, and also wield a certain authority. Going against the current to save persons, resurrection is just the most ordinary capability of a supreme being, something every supreme being can do, or rather anyone who has mastered the rule of time and space rules can achieve. However, resurrecting a dead being entails enduring the backlash of the entire universe. Only a supreme being can lightly withstand such backlash. At my current rate of understanding, to comprehend 3,333 evolution paths, I would need only a few months at most. Lin Yuan estimated internally. The effectiveness of Against Heaven's understanding depends on the heights he has reached. If Lin Yuan were just an ordinary person, observing a plant or a flower, he probably could only comprehend ordinary martial arts. But if Lin Yuan were a higher rank evolver, he might realize insights related to the life rules. Similarly, after stepping into the 8th layer, Lin Yuan's rate of understanding had already ascended to another level. To fully comprehend 3,333 types of evolution paths, I can become an ordinary member of the Magic Jade Tower. What about 6,666 types? Or 9,999 types? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Although he didn't know what the use of ordinary members and core members of the Magic Jade Tower was, Lin Yuan instinctively felt that the higher the membership level, the greater the benefits for him. Regardless of whether there were gains from increasing membership levels, Lin Yuan would continue to come here to understand more evolution paths, in order to provide nourishment for the 8th stage martial Tao. On the other side of the firmament, atop a high platform, several figures fixed their gazes upon Lin Yuan. Is that the 13-peak master of the Red Kuan lineage? Did he step into the 8th stage not long ago? An 8th layer before the age of 100, huh? Red Kuan sure is lucky. Indeed, to cultivate to the 8th layer so quickly, could there be other opportunities involved? These figures conversed among themselves. As 9th rank evolvers standing high above, it was rare for anyone to catch their attention. Previously, as a 7th rank evolver under the age of 100, Lin Yuan had only drawn a few extra glances from them, but that was all. Although rare, a 7th rank under 100 was still a long way from 9th rank. But now, Lin Yuan had reached the 8th layer. Although he was still far from 9th rank, he was now worthy of their attention. In this generation of our human civilization, among those under the age of 10,000, only the few progeny of the Supreme Beings and those few who have received special heritages can compare, right? A figure said softly. The progeny of the Supreme Beings, nurtured meticulously from birth and even sleeping within the origin source of space before being born, naturally grasped the space rules and were exceedingly close to other rules. Like children of the Great Tao. Along with various encounters and resources. Even so, in the eyes of these figures, they could only just compare to Lin Yuan. As for the others who received special heritage, they were even more irreplaceable existences. In a mysterious space, a towering figure enshrouded in a haze of gray mist suddenly opened his eyes. Entering the 8th layer before the age of 100? Interesting. Scenes flickered before this towering figure. Do you know of the second method of exploration for that body segment? This towering figure generated many speculations in his mind. Related to extraterrestrial forces? A chosen one? Guided by the cosmic origin? This towering figure sank into thought. Goddess of wisdom. The towering figure's voice resonated, shaking the vicinity for trillions of miles. Respected Supreme Being, what are your commands? The solemn, cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. I plan to meet this young fellow in the virtual world. There wouldn't be any problems, right? The towering figure said casually. Respected Supreme Being, this citizen is very important to human civilization. The evolutionary path he has established might become a new supreme evolution path in the future. The Goddess of Wisdom cautioned. Don't worry, I know my limits, the towering figure sneered. So you, Goddess of Wisdom, know to protect the genius descendants of mankind? On Chikuan Main Star. Lin Yuan ended his contemplation. Has reached the 8th stage, then has that psychic will pressure also ascended to 8th layer level? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The psychic will pressure from that body segment was entirely dependent on the realm and strength of the contemplator's own spirit will. Not to mention the 8th layer, even a 9th rank evolver, contemplating that body segment, would still have to endure immense psychic will pressure every single moment. Just as Lin Yuan was planning to step out of the Grand Hall for a stroll, the voice of the Goddess of Wisdom suddenly reached him. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, someone wishes to meet you. Wants to meet me? Lin Yuan halted, puzzled. He had never seen the Goddess of Wisdom relay messages for someone else. At least a 7th level citizen like him couldn't command the Goddess of Wisdom to do so. Who? Lin Yuan asked. A supreme being. P.S. Here I'll clarify, I've never written about the specific rank of a supreme being. Neither ninth rank nor 10th rank equates to a supreme being. Regarding that previous Vice Tower Master, the protagonist believes he is at least ninth rank. Just at least. With the combat power shown by the Vice Tower Master, to shatter a light-year area of the Heiyuan's secret realm in a snap of the fingers, his power clearly surpasses ninth rank. Chapter 415 The Gift from the Supreme Being, Subscription Requested. A Supreme Being wishes to see me? Lin Yuan felt waves stirring in his spirit, as supreme beings were the towering pillars of human civilization. Today, human civilization could sweep across the myriad clans, led by 3 goddesses and supported by 9 supreme beings' pinnacle combat powers. Without supreme beings, human civilization simply couldn't counter the insect race's sea of bugs army. Yes, the supreme being who wishes to see you is named Xianxia, answered the goddess of wisdom. Xianxia supreme being, Lin Yuan's thoughts scattered. Xianxia supreme being was the 3rd supreme being of human civilization, stationed in the evolution tower within the northeastern region of the human civilization territory, facing 2 peak clans alone. How will I see him? Lin Yuan asked. You can meet in the virtual world, replied the goddess of wisdom, her voice solemn and cold. Understood. Lin Yuan nodded. It was within Lin Yuan's expectations that a supreme being wished to see him. As Lin Yuan's strength continually improved, it was bound to attract the attention of a supreme being. Below the 8th layer, 6th and 7th rank were not even noticed by supreme beings, but reaching the 8th layer, that already constituted high-end combat power of human civilization. And Lin Yuan's age upon entering the 8th layer was exceedingly young, under 100 years old, to be precise, just over 30. Even if supreme beings were not yet paying attention to Lin Yuan, once he became an invincible 8th layer and entered the 9th rank, he still would need to meet a supreme being. A mysterious virtual world. Lin Yuan's form appeared as he looked around. In the distance, a towering man stood. To call him towering was actually an understatement as he was only 3 meters tall, but to Lin Yuan, he felt immensely towering, far surpassing tens of thousands of stars combined. Supreme Being. Lin Yuan scrutinized the towering man, feeling his soul tremble. On this towering man, it seemed as though he saw the vast cosmic starry sky, an endless operation of the origin source. Space rules? Rule of time? No, it's the space-time rule formed after the fusion of space rules and rule of time? And the rule of life, rule of cause and effect. Too many, too many. Although Lin Yuan stiffly tried to comprehend with his against heaven's understanding, he found it barely effective. The gap between them was too vast. Lin Yuan was able to understand the paths of the evolution contained in that segment of the body because the other party had completely perished. And a supreme being had paid a price to forcibly reveal the mysteries contained within that segment of the body. Additionally, because of the isolation by the virtual world, that allowed 7th rank evolvers among humans to comprehend it. Without the above preparations, if that segment of the body were brought directly for comprehension, presumably all 6th and 7th rank evolvers would go mad at just a glance at it. Now, Lin Yuan trying to comprehend Xianxia Supreme Being was like directly trying to understand the origin operation of the cosmic starry sky, hardly understanding anything significant in a short time. Interesting little fellow, Xianxia Supreme Being observed Lin Yuan and said with a smile. I have seen the Supreme Being, Lin Yuan said respectfully immediately. It's terrifying. The different rules can actually fuse together? Lin Yuan subtly saw a path to the 9th and even 10th rank from the Supreme Being. An 8th rank evolver eager to advance to the 9th rank needed not only a well-perfected inner world but also fusion rules. Chicoan Starlord was stuck here, with the fusion of space rules and fire rules not reaching perfect fusion. But on Xianxia Supreme Being, Lin Yuan felt many rules merging into one. Even the foundational space and time rules perfectly fused into the space-time rule. You have a fine talent and know the second method to comprehend that segment of the body. You must also know of the magic Jade Tower's existence? You should possess an off-world opportunity? Xianxia Supreme Being casually mentioned. Yes, Lin Yuan immediately responded, feeling startled inside. The magic Jade Tower. Xianxia Supreme Being also knew about the magic Jade Tower? All along, Lin Yuan had thought only he knew about the magic Jade Tower, but now it seemed, the supreme beings of human civilization had long been aware of it. As for the off-world opportunity Xianxia Supreme Being mentioned, although not very precise, the door to the myriad realm should also be considered an off-world opportunity? The insect race, those old folks, I don't know from where they learned that a corpse of a magic Jade Tower Supreme Being was about to drift in. The magic Jade Tower is an ancient force. Their tower master disappeared for who knows how many years, and most of their members have also mostly kept out of sight. Xiaxin Supreme Being said, slightly emotional. Lin Yuan silently listened below. The pressure from the Supreme Being was just too great, and from Xiaxin Supreme Being's tone, the so-called off-world opportunity wasn't taken seriously. Of course, Lin Yuan was certain that the Supreme Being likely had not discovered the existence of the door to the myriad realms. So far, of all the existences Lin Yuan had encountered, only the towering door to the myriad realms deep in his mind could compare with the current Xiaxin Supreme Being. However, the door to the myriad realms in his mind was merely an insignificant projection of the true door to the myriad realms, and in terms of hierarchy, the door to the myriad realms was even above the Supreme Being. And your spirit will. Xiaxin Supreme Being continued observing Lin Yuan, and in a trance, time fluctuation began to change. If I'm not mistaken, the ages experienced by your spirit will should be different from your physical soul, right? Xiaxin Supreme Being said with a smile. As a being who fully mastered the rule of time, Xiaxin Supreme Being only needed a brief observation of Lin Yuan to notice the differences in the passage of time on his body. The ages experienced by the spirit will? Lin Yuan was slightly startled. He had traveled 7 times, experiencing over 1,000 years in reality, but he had never told anyone about this, even the Qikuan Star Lord. Chapter 416 The Gift of the Supreme Being, please subscribe. _2 Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly. Ha 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 ha, you little fellow. Don't be nervous. It's not an uncommon thing for your spirit will to have experienced more years than your physical soul. Many attributed talents can achieve this, such as Eternal Dream, Time Chamber, and so on. Xiaxin Supreme Being shook his head with a smile. As a Supreme Being, one could go against the flow of the river of time, naturally being able to slow the passage of time. In the blink of an eye on the outside, one could experience millions of years. Or, while millions of years pass by on the outside, only a moment goes by for oneself. Moreover, many attributed abilities can also do this, mostly related to time. Eternal Dream. Time Chamber. Lin Yuan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although he didn't know the specifics, since the Supreme Being said so, it must be related to the flow of time. Indeed. For a Supreme Being, controlling time isn't a difficult task. Even the dead can be resurrected, so what is accelerating or slowing the passage of time? Of course, when it comes to the speed of time, only Supreme Beings or those who have mastered the complete rule of time can do it, belonging to the most top-tier abilities and opportunities. Judging by the passage of years of your spirit will, you should be about 2,000 years old. Xiaxin Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan and said, Supreme Being. Lin Yuan heard this and didn't speak. Ha 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 ha, are you now thinking that your name as a genius is going to be gone? Teased Xiaxin Supreme Being. Indeed. Lin Yuan nodded. You don't need to think like that, Xiaxin Supreme Being said. If you live long enough, you can step into the 8th layer. How could our human alliance's 8th layer only consist of so little? Besides, the Goddess of Wisdom said you are the founder of an evolution path, and the path you have opened has tremendous potential. Under the condition of continuously pioneering evolution paths, merely having a spirit will age of 2,000 years and achieving this much, in human civilization history, your talent is enough to rank in the top 20 or top 10. Xiaxin Supreme Being said with a smile. If Lin Yuan's spirit will age were the same as his physical primordial spirit, only a little over 30 years old, he would have doubted if there was some other background to Lin Yuan. A little over 30 years old, stepping into the 8th layer, pioneering an evolution path with tremendous potential. It just couldn't be done. Even the Supreme Being would find it absurd. The top 20 or top 10 in human civilization history. Lin Yuan blinked his eyes. Such an evaluation was terrifyingly high. This was the history of human civilization, the Starry Sea era that spanned over 2 million years. How many prodigies and monsters had human civilization produced? Even including the 9 Supreme Beings, being able to rank in the top 20 or top 10 meant he was at the very top just below the Supreme Beings, right? Hearing Xiaxin Supreme Being's evaluation of himself, Lin Yuan couldn't help feeling a bit smug, but he quickly recovered. No matter how strong the talent, if it could not be converted into strength, it was meaningless. In the 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, many evolvers had the potential to become Supreme Beings, but in the end, human civilization only had 9 Supreme Beings. Having an attributed talent like Eternal Dream can indeed give a great advantage in the early stages of cultivation, but that's about it. At the 7th or 8th rank, Such abilities are no longer so critical, Xianxia Supreme Being stated. So-called eternal dream is experiencing thousands of years within a dream, a feat easily achievable by a supreme being. Even if Lin Yuan used abilities like eternal dream, just taking a little over 2,000 years to reach his current point still couldn't conceal his heaven-defying talent. That was why Xianxia Supreme Being rated Lin Yuan among the top 20 or top 10 in the entire history of human civilization. Understood, Lin Yuan said softly. In fact, the traveling ability of the door to the myriad realms was far from as simple as eternal dream. Traversing to a world, absorbing the essence of that world's cultivation system, and perceiving the fluctuations of many rules across different dimensions and planes. This was far more precious than the speed of time. Xianxia Supreme Being had only noticed that something was off with the passage of Lin Yuan's spirit will time, but had yet to discover the existence of the door to the myriad realms. With your talent and aptitude, there shouldn't be too big of an obstacle in the practice at the 8th layer level. But when it comes to the final fusion rules, you have to think carefully, said Xianxia Supreme Being. The fusion rules here are not ordinary fusion among rules, but a fusion between pillar rules and other rules. You must carefully consider which rules to integrate with the pillar rules, Xianxia Supreme Being advised. Thank you for your guidance, Supreme Being, Lin Yuan nodded. The so-called pillar rules refer to the space rules, rule of time, rules of life, and so on. Now that you have stepped into the 8th layer, I presume you are about to head to the fringe starfield to preside for 500 years? Xianxia Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan. Yes, Lin Yuan nodded. But I haven't chosen which star domain yet, Lin Yuan said. The fringe starfield is fraught with danger. Therefore, I will give you a treasure, Xianxia Supreme Being said. Don't refuse. Do you think you are strong? Have the doppelganger skill. Or that with our intervention in resurrection, you will not die. Xianxia Supreme Being looked at Lin Yuan and shook his head. The doppelganger skill is not foolproof, and the method of resurrection does not bring back everything, Xianxia Supreme Being continued. For instance, with memory contamination, no matter how many avatars you have, you will have to die. After resurrection, as long as the memory remains, you will still have to die. Memory contamination. Lin Yuan's expression grew solemn. Such methods, with more restrictive conditions than curse-killing skill, would be difficult for even a 10th rank being to apply to him, given his current strength. I will bestow upon you a treasure, called the soul-settling pearl. Even if a supreme being attempts memory contamination on you or uses other means, you will be able to persist for an instant. At that moment, detonate yourself immediately and wait for me to resurrect you, Xianxia Supreme Being spoke calmly. Can it withstand a supreme being for an instant? Lin Yuan was shocked. What existence were supreme beings? Their attacks were unpredictable and profound. For example, if an alien strong one wanted to kill Lin Yuan before he met Xianxia Supreme Being, it would not be too difficult. It could even be a permanent kill, beyond the scope of resurrection. But supreme beings have their pride. Presently, to the outside world, Lin Yuan was just an 8th layer being under 100 years old, not warranting a supreme being's intervention. If it were revealed that Lin Yuan was not only an 8th layer being under 100 years old but also the founder of the martial path evolutionary path, the situation might change. Remember, once the soul-settling pearl is activated passively, you must not hesitate to choose self-detonation. Do not delay, Xianxia Supreme Being said gravely. As long as Lin Yuan had not been subjected to memory contamination or the like, Xianxia Supreme Being would be able to resurrect him, leaving the essentials unharmed. But once memory contaminated, just like the heart demon tribulation, even a supreme being could not remove all. Meaning even after resurrection, death would still ensue. Understood, Lin Yuan said in a deep voice. What Xianxia Supreme Being was considering were the extreme situations Lin Yuan might face. Under normal circumstances, a supreme being would not intervene. If an alien supreme being took action to erase a human prodigy, then the supreme beings of human civilization would also intervene, erasing the geniuses of the different species. In that case, no one would dare venture out. Unless the alien supreme being saw in Lin Yuan the hope of becoming a supreme being. Otherwise, it would not even bother to pay attention. And while there have been several 8th layer evolvers under 100 years old throughout the history of human civilization, very few ultimately touched the realm of supreme beings. Xianxia Supreme Being was aware that Lin Yuan was the founder of the martial path evolutionary path. And as the founder, having no path laid out before him yet still reaching this point, there certainly was potential for him to become a supreme being. But Xianxia Supreme Being knew what the alien Supreme Beings did not. Within the whole human civilization, only 3 goddesses and 9 Supreme Beings knew that Lin Yuan was the founder of the martial path evolutionary path. The soul-settling pearl will be delivered to you as soon as possible. Xianxia Supreme Being gestured dismissively and proceeded to send Lin Yuan away from the virtual world. After Lin Yuan had vanished, Xianxia Supreme Being's smile began to fade. I hope you grow up successfully. Xianxia Supreme Being looked towards the last spot where Lin Yuan had stood, with a glimmer of anticipation in his eyes. Chapter 417 Choosing a Star Domain. End of this volume. Please subscribe. Consciousness returned to reality. Scenes of Lin Yuan's exchange with the Xianxia Supreme Being flashed through his mind. Supreme Beings are too terrifying. Lin Yuan was astonished in his heart. Could they really discern the traces of his spirit will's passage through time solely with an avatar in the virtual world? But the door to the myriad realms. Lin Yuan was very certain. The Xianxia Supreme Being had not detected the door to the myriad realms at all. Although he had only traversed it 7 times, Lin Yuan indeed knew the immense value the door to the myriad realms held for human civilization. If human civilization controlled the door to the myriad realms, there would be no need to persist in wars with the surrounding peak clans. What was the purpose of the Human Civilization Alliance constantly waging wars? Resources. It was all for resources. In the cosmic starry sky, resources are limited. If human civilization wanted to develop continuously, it would have to plunder resources ceaselessly. And this would inevitably lead to conflicts with other peak clans, thereby igniting wars. With the door to the myriad realms, human civilization could completely invade other dimensions and realms to acquire a vast amount of resources. Lin Yuan was very clear about this, but he would never take the initiative to disclose the existence of the door to the myriad realms. Human nature is unpredictable. In the face of absolute interests, no one can guarantee what they might do. Perhaps in the future, once Lin Yuan became a supreme being, or even surpassed them, he would use the door to the myriad realms to open pathways to other dimensional realms, allowing the evolvers of human civilization to go and pioneer new territories. As for now, Lin Yuan would absolutely not reveal the existence of the door to the myriad realms to anyone. This was Lin Yuan's biggest trump card. The Red Kuan lineage's Xianxia becoming an 8th layer was a sensational event for both the Qikuan Star Domain and the Anan Star Alliance. Especially considering that the Great Peak Master had also advanced to the 8th layer not long ago, it was not an exaggeration to say that the Red Kuan lineage's foundation had grown significantly with 2 more 8th layer individuals. As a result, the Red Kuan lineage decided to hold a grand ceremony to celebrate the birth of the 2 8th layer individuals. The celebration took place in the virtual world, and forces or lone evolvers with even a modicum of fame from the Anan Star Alliance and dozens of surrounding star alliances hurried over, making it much more magnificent than the reception when Lin Yuan advanced to the 6th rank. The Red Kuan lineage gaining a Peak Master was a big deal within the Qikuan Star Domain but not beyond it. However, the birth of an 8th rank evolver, especially a sub-century-old one like Lin Yuan, signified tremendous potential to every power, which was nothing short of terrifying. This was not the time to forego congratulations, as there might not be another chance later. Is that Hong Feng Star-Lord? That's Wanyang Star-Lord? Even the Golden Dragon Star Master has come? So many 8th layer Star Lords. Even the invincible ones of the 8th layer have arrived in large numbers. The scale of this. It's rivaling a Star Alliance level celebration. The guests discussed in low voices. These were big shots in their own star domains but quite ordinary here. Only the 8th layer Star Lords received a second glance at Xianxia's ceremony. As for the 7th and 6th rank evolvers, there were too many to take notice of them all. That must be Xianxia so young. Indeed. It's amazing how he advanced to the 8th layer at such a young age. Of course, the guest of interest was Lin Yuan. While the Great Peak Master advancing to the 8th layer was impressive, it paled next to Xianxia. Lin Yuan sat at a table with his parents, with several tables next to them reserved for the Star Lords. So many important figures. Lin Yi looked left and right, feeling fortunate to be in the virtual world where the auras of the high-rank evolvers were suppressed. If this were reality, her being a lower-rank evolver would probably have made her tremble and feel uneasy merely with a glance. This was the oppression of the essence of life. Xiao Yu in this? Father Lin Shoqing sighed. His son had achieved far too much. He had thought Lin Yuan becoming Xianxia of the Red Kuan lineage was already a stroke of ancestral fortune. But now, Lin Yuan had ascended to the 8th layer, and he was sub-century old at that. In recent times, Countless massive powers from different star domains had contacted him, either proactively or passively. Their goal was to ingratiate themselves with Lin Yuan. Xiao Yuan, I've heard that 8th rank evolvers need to go to the fringe starfield to take charge. Isn't that very dangerous? Mother Lu Qiong asked in a low voice, her tone full of concern. It is somewhat dangerous, but I can handle it, said Lin Yuan with a smile. Lin Yuan's true self was heading to the fringe starfield to take charge, while one incarnation as Yin spirit and Yang spirit was in the battlefields of different races, and the other in the Qikuan main star. Perfectly safe. The avatar methods of other evolvers only allowed the resurrection of incarnations while the true self was still alive. If the true self were to fall, then all of its avatars would fall as well. But Lin Yuan's martial Tao primordial spirit, in the strictest sense, was not an avatar. There was no need for the true self to be alive to condense the Yin spirit and Yang spirit. Even if the true self fell, the Yin and Yang spirits could still use the Taiji's ability to create all things to re-evolve a physical body. Moreover, with the physical body divine ability blood rebirth, there was no need for Lin Yuan to go through such trouble. Apprentice, come over here, beckoned Qikuan Star Lord's voice in Lin Yuan's ear. I'll be back in a moment, Lin Yuan said as he rose and gestured to his parents. These few are my good friends, they wanted to meet you. Qikuan Star Lord was chatting and laughing with several Star Lords. Upon seeing Lin Yuan approaching, he immediately introduced him. This is your young apprentice, one remarked. Truly terrifying potential, an 8th layer under 100 years old. Qikuan, you old rascal, your luck is too good, isn't it? Chapter 418 Choosing a Star Domain, end of this volume, please subscribe. _21 Star Lord after another spoke. Lin Yuan had entered the 6th rank before the age of 100. Many of these Star Lords largely praised the Qikuan Star Lord for his brilliant methods of mentoring disciples. But now, Lin Yuan had entered the 8th rank before the age of 100. All the Star Lords changed their tune, considering the Qikuan Star Lord to be lucky. Several Star Lords even felt envious when they saw Lin Yuan, thinking that if they had received such a disciple, they could have done no worse than the Qikuan Star Lord. This was indeed the case. The Qikuan Star Lord knew his own family affairs. His guidance for Lin Yuan was actually quite minimal. Apart from providing material resources, the Qikuan Star Lord's mentoring did not exceed 5 times. Ha ha ha, what's the matter? Luck is also a type of strength. Not convinced? Try finding such a disciple yourself. The Qikuan Star Lord was in a good mood. Not only did he not refute, but he took pride in this fact. The celebration lasted several days. Lin Yuan quickly resumed his cultivation. The 8th layer part of the martial path evolutionary path focuses on the integration of rules. Lin Yuan thought quickly, a vast amount of spiritual light surged in his mind, contemplating the gains of that body segment and transformed them into a foundation at this moment, continuously propelling Lin Yuan to open up the 8th stage of martial arts. Rule integration must have a pillar rule. I will integrate Tai Yin Tai Yang rule with space rules. The foundation of the martial Tao that Lin Yuan cultivated was based on Tai Yin, Tai Yang, and Taiji. Therefore, in the 8th rank, the natural course was for Tai Yin and Tai Yang to integrate with the space rules. This was set as the path from the 2nd layer chapter, 3rd layer chapter in the martial path evolutionary path. Of course, other martial arts evolutionaries don't have to do it this way. They can choose their own paths without being confined to Tai Yin and Tai Yang. He ended his cultivation for the day. Lin Yuan began to go through the gifts that other evolutionaries had given him at the celebration. Since the Red Kuan lineage hosted the celebration, the participating evolutionaries, to some extent, expressed their goodwill. Especially for 13 Peak Master with infinite potential in the 8th rank, why not invest now rather than when 13 Peak Master is unmatched in the 8th rank and entering the 9th rank? By then, it would depend on whether they would even be accepted. Although investing now was adding icing to the cake, it was still better than not investing at all. All the gifts together amount to about 150,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan was in a good mood. This was much more than the gifts he received when he first advanced to a 7th level citizen. When Lin Yuan advanced to 7th level citizen, hiding his true identity, many evolutionaries were reluctant to invest too much. But now advancing to an 8th rank evolver, being an evolver under 100 years of age at the 8th rank, which evolver would dare to underestimate this? With my current universe crystals, plus several shares of income from the martial path evolutionary path, it's nearly 200,000 cubic. Lin Yuan's face revealed a smile. Universe crystals, being a universal currency among the 10,000 races of the cosmic starry sky, not only held monetary value but also practical value. 200,000 cubic universe crystals exceeded the wealth of ordinary 8th rank peak evolvers. Of course, the wealth of most 8th rank evolvers was concentrated in weapons and treasures. The number of universe crystals they held was not the main aspect. Lin Yuan looked up, gazing toward the outside of the Great Hall. 13 Peak Master. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Grand Hall and saw a gaunt man standing there. Who are you? Lin Yuan looked at the gaunt man, slightly startled inside. This man bore a striking resemblance to Nalan, the assistant tower master, who had recently destroyed the edge of the Heiyuan secret realm with a flick of his fingers. Of course, Lin Yuan deduced through the video that the person was at least a 9th rank evolver, probably even stronger. After all, the Heiyuan clan also had 5 or 6 9th rank powerhouses stationed there, but in front of assistant tower master Nalan, these 5 or 6 9th rank powerhouses didn't even dare to leave the secret realm, watching helplessly as Nalan crushed a vast area of the realm's edge. It was only when the insect race powerhouses came to support that Nalan stopped and left. This is what the tower master asked me to give to you. Nalan smiled slightly and handed a metal box to Lin Yuan. All right. Lin Yuan's expression was solemn as he accepted the metal box. The tower master values you highly. It's been a long time since I saw the tower master treating a junior like this. Nalan smiled slightly, and his figure directly disappeared. Nalan, the deputy tower master. Lin Yuan's thoughts raced. Nalan, the deputy tower master, must be the one stationed at the evolution tower overseen by Xianxia, the supreme being. The evolution tower overseen by Xianxia, the supreme being, is countless light years away from Jianghu's star domain. Even with continuous wormhole shuttling, it would take hundreds to thousands of years to reach, yet the deputy tower master arrived in just less than half a month. Lin Yuan felt a jolt of shock. It said that after fully comprehending the complete rule model of space, one can master wide-range relocation techniques, moving hundreds of thousands of light years in just one step. But that is an ability only 9th rank evolvers can control. Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. At the edge of the human civilization territory, several immense wills penetrated through. Who was it exactly who detected Xianxia, the peak master of Red Kuan lineage's talent, and did not report it to the Insect Race Alliance immediately? The strongest of those wills suppressed its fury. If they had known earlier that Xianxia could step into the 8th rank before the age of 100, they would have done everything possible to eliminate him before he advanced to the 6th rank. As long as he was killed before reaching the 6th rank, even a supreme being couldn't bring him back to life. Those who didn't report on time are criminals of the Insect Race Alliance. The strongest will accuse the others. I'm not sure. Pan Yong was in charge of Jianghu's star domain at that time, but he disappeared some time ago, and we have been unable to find him, said one of the wills immediately. Right, he just vanished suddenly. Now there's no way to know why he didn't report back then. Vanished? Just like that? The strongest will clearly didn't believe it. As long as the person in question is missing, no evidence can be formed, and the insect race cannot punish the corresponding clan. I suspect those people were bribed by the human civilization early on, which is also a setback for us, said the third will immediately. Bribed? The strongest will remained expressionless. I will continue to report this matter. As for you clans, just wait, the strongest will said, then dissipated. On Jianghu main star, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Is this the soul-settling pearl? A treasure that can withstand a moment's attack from a supreme being? Lin Yuan opened the metal box, and a colorless, transparent pearl slowly floated up. It faintly radiated an extremely gentle power, making Lin Yuan's spiritual will feel as though it was soaking in a hot spring. Much more precious than an 8th rank spiritual defense treasure. No, even the origin fine gold given by the teacher can't compare. Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. Origin fine gold is indeed precious, possessing growth properties, but to grow it to the level of a supreme being, one would not know how many resources must be invested. The soul-settling pearl, however, must be a treasure at the level of a supreme being, otherwise, it couldn't block a supreme being's momentary attack. To know, a supreme being, mastering the complete rule of time, would kill an 8th rank evolver before they could even react. Yet this soul-settling pearl could forcefully buy a momentary lapse of time. With that moment, Lin Yuan could choose to self-destruct. As long as he didn't receive memory contamination from a supreme being, so-called death, under the resurrection means of the Supreme Being, was merely like sleeping a while. I have Yang spirit at Chikuan main star, even if I encounter a Supreme Being, I can just let my true self detonate without needing a Supreme Being's resurrection, Lin Yuan thought to himself inside. Regardless, it's always better to stay alive. Successfully refined the soul-settling pearl. Lin Yuan began to consider the matters he needed to face next. That was to choose a star domain on the periphery and then oversee it for 500 years. Most 8th rank evolvers oversee for far more than 500 years, like Chikuan Star Lord, who, having just advanced to the 8th rank, has been overseeing Chikuan Star domain from that time until now, Lin Yuan thought internally. People have emotions, and so do evolvers. Let's take a look, choose which star domain to manage. Lin Yuan opened the map of the Human Alliance territory to closely examine it. An 8th rank evolver in charge of a peripheral area will have the authority to name it. Originally, Chikuan Star Domain was not called Chikuan Star Domain. After Chikuan Star Lord took charge, it became Chikuan Star Domain. This place is the one. Lin Yuan focused his attention on a certain location on the map. Chapter 419 Galaxy Master. Please subscribe. It's you. Lin Yuan looked toward the edge of the map, at a star domain that had just been incorporated into the human civilization territory, and made up his mind. Human civilization was expanding its frontiers at all times, incorporating vast swathes of star systems into its territory daily. These star systems and star domains, to integrate as smoothly as possible into human civilization, required the presence of sufficiently powerful beings to oversee them, facilitating large-scale migration. And such beings with sufficient clout. An 8th rank evolver would suffice. In the cosmic starry skies, the wars between many different species generally have an upper limit at the 8th layer. 9th rank evolvers? Unless a large-scale war broke out, like the recent one where human civilization conducted a cleanse of the many species within the insect race alliance. That's when evolvers of the 9th rank or even stronger were mobilized. But this was a rare case, as the insect race was trying to monopolize an ultimate evolutionary path that lacked supreme beings, which in turn provoked the wrath of human civilization. The insect race was also acutely aware of their situation and did not resist fiercely against human civilization's purge, or else it would have sparked a full-blown war with the alliances of the peak clans. Hence, in normal-scale wars, 8th rank combat power was usually the ceiling. As for 9th and 10th rank? Even in large alien battlefields, it was unlikely for fighters of the 9th and 10th ranks to make a move easily. For human civilization to station 8th rank evolvers in fringe starfields was already giving them considerable attention. This star domain consists of 12 star systems, and preliminary surveys indicate there are as many as 1.5 million life planets suitable for normal human habitation, and over 10 billion of various resource planets. Lin Yuan carefully looked over the detailed information of the star domain. Since only preliminary surveys were conducted, much of the data was not precise, but it was enough for him to get a general understanding. All things considered, the star domain he chose was larger than Chikuan's star domain by half, as one could tell from the number of life planets. Most importantly, the different species bordering this star domain did not include any peak clans, making it relatively safe. In the future, this will be the place where I remain in charge for 500 or even more years. Lin Yuan carefully inspected the star domain on the map from all angles. Let's apply directly. After contemplating for a while, Lin Yuan started the application process with the Goddess of Wisdom. Application approved. Next, a staff member will contact you to verify your strength. The solemn and serene voice of the Goddess of Wisdom reached him. Understood. Lin Yuan nodded. Although the Red Kuan lineage had announced that Lin Yuan had advanced to the 8th rank, if one wanted to oversee a star domain, an official confirmation from human civilization was still required. It wasn't a matter of doubting the legitimacy of the Red Kuan lineage. It was just standardized procedure. Even disciples of supreme beings, after advancing to the 8th rank, had to follow this protocol. Teacher asked me to visit him before I leave? Upon receiving a message from the Chikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan was slightly moved. Before the Great Peak Master left, he too had visited the Chikuan Star Lord. It must be that the Chikuan Star Lord had given some treasures to help face the many challenges of the fringe starfields. The situation in the fringe starfields was complicated. Although human civilization had driven different species out on the surface, many issues remained. For instance, how should one deal with certain special life-form species? These special life form species have lived there since their inception, and have exhibited no hostile actions against human civilization. How human civilization should deal with them after taking over these star domains is a conundrum. These special life form species, while few in number, doesn't mean they are easy to deal with. 2 days later, the official staff members from human civilization arrived on Chikuan main star. Peak Master Shursan. The 2 staff members were one tall and burly, and the other slim and slender. It's protocol, and we hope for Peak Master Shursan's understanding. The slender staff member said with a smile. Many 8th rank evolvers would feel repulsed by this process, but rules were rules. To assume vast authority over a star domain naturally required passing through many processes. I understand. Lin Yuan wasn't bothered in the least. Peak Master Shursan, please activate the power of your world through this crystal sphere, said the tall staff member, placing a crystal sphere in front of Lin Yuan. The sphere was transparent with twinkling stars inside, like a starry sea enclosed within. All right. With a flicker of his mind, Lin Yuan channeled a wisp of the world's power into the crystal sphere, then quickly withdrew it. Buzz! The sphere trembled slightly, and a few strands of golden light burst forth. Peak Master Shursan's power of the world is without issue, the slender staff member remarked, his pupils slightly contracting as he exchanged a quick glance with his burly colleague and hastened to speak. Both had confirmed the power of many 8th rank evolvers and were quite experienced. But they were still astonished by the high quality of Peak Master Shursan's world power. It was nearly on par with 7th rank peak evolvers. The 2 staff members were shocked. They had originally thought that for Peak Master Shursan to have advanced to the 8th rank before the age of 100, his foundation couldn't be as solid as those who took tens of thousands of years to advance. Yet, the world power Lin Yuan had shown revealed the stability of his inner world far surpassed that of typical newly advanced 8th rank evolvers. Peak Master Shursan, please drop a bead of your blood into this bowl, requested the tall staff member, producing a metal bowl and placing it in front of Lin Yuan. To confirm whether an evolver has reached the 8th rank, 3 aspects must be examined. First is the power of the world. Second is the physical strength. Third is soul strength. World power alone does not suffice to determine an 8th rank evolver since a small number of 7th rank evolvers can have an inner world before their peak. Chapter 420 Galaxy Master, please subscribe. _2 Lin Yuan was at the peak of the 6th rank, on the verge of breaking through to the 7th rank, when he completed the creation of his inner world. Only by combining physical strength with soul strength could one determine if an evolver has stepped into the 8th rank. Whoosh! Lin Yuan squeezed out a drop of blood. After dropping it into a metal bowl and getting confirmation from the emaciated staff member, Lin Yuan willed the drop of blood to dissipate into thin air. Having mastered the physical body divine ability Blood Rebirth, Lin Yuan had absolute control over every drop of his blood. After verifying his physical body, Lin Yuan proceeded to verify his soul strength. Shortly thereafter, the 2 staff members received confirmation. The Peak Master of Shursan indeed stepped into the 8th rank. Even during the confirmation, the 2 staff members speculated that the Peak Master of Shursan's strength was far superior to that of a normal 8th rank evolver. Peak Master of Shursan, we have finished the confirmation, the 2 staff members said with slight reverence. Thank you, Lin Yuan nodded. May I ask if you, Peak Master, have decided on a name for the star domain you wish to preside over? Asked the emaciated staff member, slightly curious. A name? Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before saying, I've already decided. What is it? The emaciated staff member asked curiously. This was not exactly a secret. The name of a star domain would inevitably become public knowledge. Let's call it Milky Way, said Lin Yuan calmly, with a voice full of implication. Milky Way star region? Milky Way. The 2 staff members, unaware of the significance of the name, congratulated with a smile. Congratulations to the Galaxy Master on your new appointment. With the star domain named Milky Way, Lin Yuan naturally became the Galaxy Master. Galaxy Master. Lin Yuan's thoughts wandered. He named the domain Milky Way in remembrance of the galaxy that Earth belonged to before he crossed over to this great universe world. After the 2 staff members left, less than a minute passed, Lin Yuan received the Goddess of Wisdom's confirmation. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, your star domain application has passed the review. Please proceed to select the main star configuration, came the solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom. Main star configuration? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow. He knew about the main star, which was the most central location in a star domain, like the Qikuan main star in the Qikuan star domain. Respected 7th-level citizen Lin Yuan, the so-called main star configuration is the selection of resource levels to remodel the main star. Being a newly annexed star domain, the human civilization officially provides a Layer C remodel for free. Once you confirm the main star, a designated evolver will go to remake it, granting it basic war capabilities, the goddess of wisdom explained. I see. Lin Yuan suddenly understood. The Qikuan main star, as the most prosperous place in the Qikuan star domain, wouldn't dare be messed with, even by 8th rank evolvers. What accounted for this? The Qikuan Star Lord? Not entirely. Most of the time, the Qikuan Star Lord was in seclusion, and other than the affairs atop the 13 peaks, he typically ignored the rest. What normally governed the Qikuan main star were war technologies like the planetary defense system. The planetary defense system on the Qikuan main star could easily suppress any ordinary 8th rank evolver. What level of planetary defense system does a Layer C remodel correspond to? Lin Yuan inquired. It can suppress all 6th rank powerhouses and most 7th rank powerhouses, replied the goddess of wisdom. What about higher level remodels? Lin Yuan continued to ask. A Layer B remodel can suppress all 7th rank powerhouses and most 8th rank powerhouses, and would require the Star Lord to pay an additional 100,000 cubic universe crystals. A Layer A remodel can suppress almost all 8th rank evolvers, with the exception of the Invincibles, and would require the Star Lord to pay an additional 1 million cubic universe crystals, the goddess of wisdom's voice transmitted. So expensive? Lin Yuan was somewhat taken aback. Even a Layer B transformation required 100,000 cosmic crystals. What did that mean? It was equivalent to the entire wealth of a newly advanced 8th rank evolver, including the value of treasures and weapons. Together they amounted to just this much. Not to mention a Layer A transformation. But its effect was also obvious. A Layer B transformation could easily resolve most 8th rank evolvers, and just this point alone was of immeasurable value. The main star of a star domain is the future economic and political center of that domain. There must be absolutely no security risks. Lin Yuan thought to himself. As long as the main star was well managed, it would become a money tree in the future. How much profit could the Qikuan main star generate for the Qikuan Star Lord, gathering merchants from numerous surrounding star domains each day? I choose the Layer B transformation, Lin Yuan said after some thought. Whether it was a Layer B or a Layer A transformation, they were both benefits provided by human civilization to various Star Lords. A planetary defense system that could suppress most 8th rank powerhouses, if purchased privately, could not be quelled even with tens of thousands of cubic universe crystals. Layer B transformation requires 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, please confirm. The voice of the goddess of wisdom came. Confirmed. Lin Yuan nodded. The next moment, his account balance was short by 100,000 cubic universe crystals. It's deducted so quickly? Lin Yuan felt a bit of heartache. 100,000 cubic universe crystals left in his account a while longer would have earned tens of millions of civilization currency and interest. Really can't resist spending this money. Lin Yuan sighed. After the 8th rank celebratory ceremony, Lin Yuan's total wealth once reached nearly 200,000 cubic universe crystals. Now, it had shrunk by more than half all at once. It can be earned back in the future. As long as the safety of the main star isn't compromised, it will inevitably become an economic center of a star domain. Wouldn't it be easy to recoup the investment by then? Lin Yuan comforted himself internally. These were all initial investments. Given a choice, Lin Yuan would have even preferred a Layer A transformation. After the choice of star domain was approved, Lin Yuan did not return to the Great Hall. Instead, he went directly to the Vermilion Palace where the Qikuan Star Lord was in seclusion. Teacher. At the palace, Lin Yuan bowed slightly to the Qikuan Star Lord. Even now, as Lin Yuan had stepped into the 8th rank, he still felt an overwhelming sense of pressure when facing the Qikuan Star Lord. One must know, although Lin Yuan had just entered the 8th rank, with the help of his inner world, he was enough to battle late 8th rank, or even peak 8th rank evolvers. Is this what it means to be invincible among the 8th rank? To have mastered a type of cosmic force? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Each invincible 8th rank had mastered a power that reigned supreme over 8th rank. This power was also known as cosmic force. In essence, The invincible 8th rank still remained at the 4th stage of the 8th rank, which is the extreme of the 8th rank. However, in terms of combat power, an invincible 8th rank could almost crush the extreme 8th rank. A million years ago, an invincible member of the Heiyuan clan, Black Abyss Qingyu, killed O-In, who was in the late 8th rank, with a single soul attack. Each invincible 8th rank was unique, and the cosmic force they mastered was different from one another. My good disciple, have you made your choice of star domain? The Qikuan Star Lord looked at Lin Yuan with a smile. Among the 13 disciples, the one who gave him the least worry was Lin Yuan, who also had the highest achievements to date. It was foreseeable that in the future, it would still be Lin Yuan. Teacher, I've made my choice, Lin Yuan replied. He then took out a map and marked out that particular star domain. There, ha! Not bad. The Qikuan Star Lord nodded and said, when going to the fringe star field, be very careful. By the way, you must have met the Supreme Being, right? Suddenly, the Qikuan Star Lord asked. If it was merely an under 100-year-old 7th rank, the Supreme Being might not take much notice, but for an under 100-year-old 8th rank, the Qikuan Star Lord was almost certain it would draw the attention of a Supreme Being. Teacher, the Supreme Being I met was Xianxia Supreme Being, Lin Yuan said. There was no need to hide this matter. How could the historically ranked top 20 or top 10 genius evolvers of human civilization have not met with a Supreme Being? Xianxia Supreme Being. That's a Supreme Being known for combat power in our human civilization, the Qikuan Star Lord spoke. Human civilization has 9 Supreme Beings. Each Supreme Being excels in different areas. To be precise, the Supreme Beings have no weak points, but compared to other Supreme Beings, they have their areas of advantage. For instance, the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being, although not skilled in direct combat, has followed an evolution path that allows her to construct an illusory universe. The current virtual world of human civilization originates from the authority of the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being, nearly able to flawlessly replicate everything within the universe, even simulating the rules. The importance of the Feather Butterfly Supreme Being is in no way inferior to that of the Xianxia Supreme Being. Chapter 421 Special Life Groups, Subscription Requested. Alright. There is no need to inform me about your conversation with the Supreme Being. The reason I called you here is to consider your overseeing duties in the star domain that lies ahead. The Qikuan Star Lord looked down at Lin Yuan and began to speak. As a teacher, when a disciple is about to travel far and manage a distant star domain, it's natural to make some arrangements. Your strength is much greater than that of your senior brother. In this respect, I am not worried. A smile appeared on the face of the Qikuan Star Lord. Being able to advance to the newly reached 8th layer and possess combat power close to the late stages or peak of the 8th layer is extremely rare in the entire Anan Star Alliance. And if you consider those under 100 years old, the Human Civilization Alliance can hardly find a few. The Qikuan Star Lord was unaware that the true age of Lin Yuan's spirit will was over 1,000 years old. Nor did he know that the evolutionary path Lin Yuan had walked was one he had blazed from nothingness. Compared to being 1,000 years old, blazing a martial path evolutionary path is even more unthinkable. Xia Qin, the evolver, even ranked Lin Yuan among the top 10 to 20 geniuses in the history of human civilization. But in a strange star domain, relying solely on strength is not enough. You also must have trustworthy subordinates, thought the Qikuan Star Lord. 2 figures appeared not far away. These 2 figures, one with dark red skin and the other with sharp ears and green eyes, were obviously not human evolvers. Star Lord. The 2 figures bowed slightly towards the Qikuan Star Lord. From today onwards, you will follow my disciple, pointed out the Qikuan Star Lord towards Lin Yuan and said. Yes. The 2 figures walked up to Lin Yuan. They. Lin Yuan's expression subtly changed. From close sensing, both figures were 8th layer beings, not just newly advanced ones. These 2, as servants of mine, are not human evolvers. One is called Hongpi, mid-8th layer, and the other is called Levian, late 8th layer, he explained. There are no issues regarding their loyalty. With their aid, you will at least not be overwhelmed in the fringe starfield, the Qikuan Star Lord said casually. Teacher, this is too precious, Lin Yuan said earnestly. Having 2 loyally devoted 8th layer beings from different species under one's command was simply. Lin Yuan couldn't even describe his feelings. From the perspective of merit points, 2 8th layer beings from another species were worth 2 million merit points. In fact, the real value of living 8th layer beings exceeded 1 million merit points, As an 8th layer being, if long stationed in battlefields of different species, could amass that many merit points over tens of thousands of years. Not to mention other incomes and gains. Why the formalities with me? With my current strength, do you think I need them? The Chicoan Star Lord glared at Lin Yuan. But Lin Yuan felt somewhat conflicted. Although as an undefeated being of the 8th layer, the Chicoan Star Lord indeed did not need mid or late 8th layer subordinates. Not needing them didn't mean they held no value. Casually placing those two 8th layer beings in battlefields could earn the Chicoan Star Lord immense wealth over time. Having two 8th layer beings work for him was extravagantly luxurious. No more buts. Just take them and keep them, the Chicoan Star Lord waved his hand and said. Go back now. If there are any issues, just contact me in the virtual world. Thank you, teacher. Lin Yuan bowed earnestly to the Chicoan Star Lord. Although Lin Yuan possessed both Yin spirit and Yang spirit, the Yin spirit needed to be accelerated under the eternal spatial rift in the battlefields of different species to accumulate world-breaking origin force. The Yang spirit stayed at the Chicoan main star for protection. Relying solely on his true self, many tasks would be hindered in the fringe starfield. But with these two 8th layer subordinates, it was different now. Many things could be simply instructed. 13 peaks. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Hongpi and Levian, the two 8th layer beings of different species, stood in front of Lin Yuan. Introduce yourselves, Lin Yuan said. Peak Master, I am called Hongpi, said the dark red-skinned being. My strength is at the mid-8th layer, I follow the rules of fire and space, and my inner world spans 9,800 li, Hongpi quickly stated. Peak Master, I am Levian, said the being with green eyes beside him. I am at the late 8th layer, proficient in the rule of life, late 8th layer. My inner world spans 32,000 li. If the Peak Master sustains any injuries, as long as the soul has not completely collapsed, I dare not say I can save you, but at least I can ensure you won't die for a short time, Levian said. Rule of life. Lin Yuan took another look at Levian. The rule of life, along with the space and time rules, is one of the foundational rules of the cosmic starry skies. Currently, Lin Yuan's understanding of the rule of life was just a bit more than elementary. I understand. Lin Yuan nodded. Normally, you will stay in my inner world. Lin Yuan glanced at the two beings, his thoughts shifted, and he absorbed them into his inner world. In his inner world, Lin Yuan was akin to a creator god, capable of effortlessly mobilizing the power of an entire world. This time, teacher has really helped me tremendously, Lin Yuan thought silently. With the assistance of Hongpi and Levian, Lin Yuan felt much relieved. To establish a star domain and govern billions of citizens involves aspects in every direction. Having two capable assistants relieved him of so much concern. Half a day later. Master, your custom-ordered layer, a cosmic spacecraft, has arrived. The voice of the intelligent assistant rang in Lin Yuan's ears. The spacecraft has arrived. Lin Yuan's spirits lifted slightly. The cosmic spacecraft Lin Yuan had purchased before were the most ordinary standard ones, only barely passable in performance. The wormhole shuttles it carried out were incomparable in both range and cooldown time to those of B-layer and layer spacecraft. Chapter 422 Special Life Populations. Please subscribe. Under 2 of course, back then, Lin Yuan didn't care too much about the spaceship's performance, since the ones riding the spaceship were his Yin spirit and Yang spirit. As long as it could be used to travel, that was enough. However, now that Lin Yuan was about to head to the fringe starfield, and it was his true self going, he needed a high-quality cosmic spaceship. This kind of cosmic spaceship not only has a tremendous advantage in speed but, in escaping and preserving one's life, it also has miraculous effects. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Great Hall and immediately saw a black spaceship parked there. From the outside, this spaceship didn't look much different from those standard-issue spaceships, but the aura it emanated caused faint vibrations in the air. The spaceship was only 500 meters in size, with faint engraved patterns on its surface. These patterns were manifestations of the essence of rules, which could let the spaceship travel faster and more easily through wormholes. Not bad, not bad. Lin Yuan's mind was pleased. The spaceship was entirely forged from red copper gold. Ordinary attacks from an 8th layer strong one basically couldn't break its defenses. From startup to wormhole shuttle, the fastest time needed was only 12 seconds. 8,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan thought about the value of this cosmic spaceship and couldn't help but feel emotional. As a star domain lord, he certainly couldn't be traveling in those standard-issue spaceships. An grade cosmic spaceship would be enough for Lin Yuan to use for a very long time. In human civilization, using spaceships to travel is the most common choice, even for 9th rank evolvers who have fully grasped a complete core space model and mastered long-range teleportation. If there wasn't anything urgent, they would also usually travel by spaceship. Long-range teleportation techniques require evolvers to integrate with the space rules, and in an instant, move hundreds to thousands of light-years along with the wave of space. It consumes one's mind and spirit greatly. Generally, a 9th rank evolver would need to rest after not too long a time. Like Vice Tower Master Nalen, who traversed countless tens of thousands of light-years within half a month to deliver the soul-settling pearl to Lin Yuan, a 9th rank evolver wouldn't be capable of that. After storing the grade cosmic spaceship, Lin Yuan returned inside the Great Hall. It's about time to leave, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Young spirit. With a slight thought, a phantom shadow walked out. It condensed into substance, looking face to face with Lin Yuan. From now on, you will be stationed here, Lin Yuan said, instructing the young spirit. And this drop of essence blood. Lin Yuan left behind a drop of essence blood. The blood rebirth physical body divine ability allowed Lin Yuan to completely control every drop of his essence blood, for within it was infused with fragments of his soul true spirit consciousness. Which treasures to take along as the true self heads to the Milky Way star region? Lin Yuan began to ponder. First and foremost was the soul-settling pearl bestowed by the Xianxia Supreme Being. This treasure was Lin Yuan's biggest safeguard for preserving his life in front of a Supreme Being. He definitely had to carry it on his person. 8th layer soul defense artifact, water droplet. Also that 8th layer armor. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and decided to bring these 2 items as well. Lin Yuan had always valued defense concerning the soul aspect. Origin fine gold. With a thought from Lin Yuan, a bell-shaped weapon appeared before him. This bell-shaped weapon was only palm-sized, but the aura it faintly emitted was even more formidable than that 8th layer soul defense artifact. Let's not bring this. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The reason was twofold. First, having just advanced to the 8th layer, the origin fine gold needed time to be nurtured to keep up with Lin Yuan's realm strength. Second, with the 8th layer soul defense artifact, 8th layer armor, and the magic jade mark enhancement, Lin Yuan believed that his defenses had already reached the extreme at his current stage. Even against an invincible 8th layer being, he could withstand a few blows without dying to a soul attack like O'In. Unknowingly, Lin Yuan had entirely surpassed O'In, a late-stage 8th layer evolver from 1,000,000 years ago. The current origin fine gold wasn't of much enhancement to Lin Yuan, at least not enough for a qualitative change. Bringing it or not didn't make much of a difference. The current situation in the Milky Way star region. Lin Yuan opened the data and began to read it carefully. The Milky Way star region originally belonged to the territories of the Shadow Tribe. And the Shadow Tribe, while not a peak clan, was still one of the most powerful clans just under the peak clans, with a force much stronger than the Heiyuan clan. After defeating the Shadow Tribe on the battlefield, human civilization claimed vast territories, including the Milky Way star region that Lin Yuan needs to oversee. Within the Milky Way star region, apart from the Shadow Tribe, there existed some special life clans and solitary alien strong ones. These special life clans and solitary alien strong ones either dominated a cosmic secret realm or several constellation systems. When the Shadow Tribe was still around, they got along quite well with these special life clans and solitary alien strong ones, not infringing upon each other. Now that the Shadow Tribe has been repelled, the entire Milky Way star region has fallen into the hands of human civilization, and it is up to Lin Yuan to decide how to deal with these special life clans and solitary alien strong ones. 9 major special life clans, 13 solitary alien strong ones? Lin Yuan reviewed the data. These clans had not yet taken hostile actions against human civilization. How should they be dealt with? Lin Yuan understood clearly that if the Shadow Tribe had left these clans intact, it must have felt that dealing with them directly would be troublesome. It was very likely that these special life clans or solitary alien strong ones were either difficult to handle or had many backgrounds, making the Shadow Tribe hesitant to provoke them. Let's see what their attitudes are when the time comes. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment, feeling sure about his course of action. At the edge of human territories, a vast star domain. A gigantic figure was devouring one planet after another, unrestrained. So satisfying, so satisfying. Everything in this universe was meant to be our food. With those Shadow Tribe in charge before, I had to be cautious, But now that they've been defeated and withdrawn from this star domain, these planetary resources are all mine. This enormous figure, similar to an octopus and blood red all over, would envelop a planet with its numerous tentacles, and within days, consume the entire planet. It's a pity these resource planets are somewhat hard to digest. If they were life planets. The blood-red octopus heart thrummed with excitement. A life planet teeming with billions of lives, devouring so many lives all at once, the countless flesh and souls, made the blood-red octopus tremble with excitement. Let's search and see. It would be best to find a few indigenous planets. The blood-red octopus immediately extended its massive perception, spreading in all directions. With the shadow tribe's retreat, they must have taken their kin with them, but in such a large star domain, there naturally remained many planets that hadn't been discovered yet. Perhaps amongst them were life planets. Several months later, the blood-red octopus was contentedly devouring several life planets. Countless lives became the nourishment for the blood-red octopus, bringing it pleasure that made its soul shiver. Ha 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 ha. It'll digest for a while first. The blood-red octopus returned to a massive planet, its lair, where it usually practiced or slumbered. The figure of the blood-red octopus shrank rapidly, transforming into a being with dozens of arms. Aodu, you're back? On the other side of the massive planet, a gigantic mountain of flesh sent out psychic waves. This meaty mountain was a special life form, on good terms with the blood-red octopus, and the two often communicated with each other. How many planets did you ingest this time? The enormous meaty mountain asked casually. Just over a dozen, but those resource planets are too hard to digest, so I secretly devoured a few life planets, and that feeling? The blood-red octopus spoke with delight. Life planets? The enormous meaty mountain felt a bit tempted as well. Wait till I've digested, and then you can follow me. The two of us will go and devour those life planets together, the blood-red octopus said. It possessed a special talent that allowed it to detect many planets in the nearby region. Otherwise, how could it so easily find life planets in the vastness of space? Forget it. Aodu, you'll also need to restrain yourself in the future, the meaty mountain said. Restrain? Why should I restrain? The blood-red octopus asked, puzzled. This star domain is territory yielded by the Shadow Tribe. You should know whom the Shadow Tribe surrendered it to, right? The meaty mountain said. I've got the message that not long from now, a Star Lord of human civilization will come to sit in this star domain. Which Star Lord? Asked the blood-red octopus. The meaty mountain replied, the Galaxy Master. Chapter 423 Meeting the Galaxy Master. Please subscribe. Galaxy Master? The Crimson Octopus Aodu thought hard, and finally shook his head, saying, never heard of him. As part of the Peak clans, he had heard of all the somewhat famous 8th layer evolvers of the human civilization, especially the likes of One Young Star-Lord and Nine-Sword Starmaster, invincible beings at the 8th layer, whose names were known to all. But the Galaxy Master? The Crimson Octopus Aodu truly had not heard of him. Of course you haven't heard of him, the massive flesh mountain glanced at Aodu. This Galaxy Master is a newly promoted 8th layer evolver. His teacher is the Chikuan Star-Lord. Chikuan Star-Lord? The Crimson Octopus Aodu's spirit was shocked. Every single one of the invincible at the 8th layer controlled a unique cosmic force, especially a fearsome invincible being like Chikuan Star-Lord. Even if he hadn't seen him, there was no way he wouldn't know of him. This Galaxy Master is quite famous, stepping into the 8th layer before 100 years of age. He is the top genius of this generation of human civilization. The massive flesh mountain knew many pieces of information about human civilization. It wasn't really considered intelligence, as the name of the Shursan Peak Master didn't need any inquiring at all. An 8th layer under 100 years old? The Crimson Octopus Aodu's expression was envious. Most of the human civilization's evolvers are like ants, but their rare talents truly make me envious. The Crimson Octopus Aodu, being a special life form, was at the 5th rank at maturity and could simply cultivate to step into the 6th rank. It didn't know how many years it took to reach its current 8th layer. But those top human talents had reached the heights where it resided in just a mere 100 or several hundred years. Of course, as a special life form, the Crimson Octopus Aodu's combat power surpassed that of a human evolver at the same level. But the gap between the two was not too significant. Below the 8th layer, human evolvers were crushed by special life forms of the same level. But after the 8th layer, upon opening up their inner worlds, the foundation of human evolvers was transformed, eliminating the fear of most special life forms at the same level. I am just warning you to be a little more cautious these days. Human civilization is not like the Shadow Tribe, the massive flesh mountain said. You'd better reduce the frequency of devouring life planets. Human civilization values their planets quite a lot. I am, after all, an 8th-layer special life form, coming from the Star Alliance. Would he, the Galaxy Master, really trouble me over a few mere planets? The Crimson Octopus AO snorted coldly. In reality, it had already planned to heed the advice of the massive flesh mountain and behave for the time being. At least, it had to figure out what the disposition of this Galaxy Master was like. If he was as tolerant as the Shadow Tribe, then its future days would be very comfortable too. Star Alliance? The massive flesh mountain shook its head slightly. The Star Alliance comprised special life forms that banded together to resist the Human Civilization Alliance and the Insect Race Alliance. Special life forms, being scarce in number, simply couldn't form the massive clans like the human race or the insect race. To contend with humans and insects, they could only unite with one another. Of course, even so, the members of the Star Alliance were still not many, with most of them scattered throughout the universe. Our star domain is about to welcome a new master? Named the Galaxy Master? Will the name of this star domain also become the Milky Way star region? This Galaxy Master has an incredible background, being the disciple of Chikuan Star-Lord and also the unparalleled genius of human civilization. I hope that this Galaxy Master will treat us like the Shadow Tribe did. That would be good. Not clear. Every Star-Lord of human civilization has a different temperament. If the Galaxy Master is cordial with us, of course, it would be a good thing. Although the personality of the Galaxy Master is unknown, he is very young, so he should not have much desire to kill. Inside the Milky Way star region, various special life-form clans and reclusive different species lone walkers were quietly discussing. They had gotten along pleasantly with the Shadow Tribe, who had conceded many interests to stabilize them. Now that a new master from human civilization had taken over this star domain, these clans and individual wanderers were naturally anxious, unsure of what awaited them. The lone walkers and special life-form clans had settled here for lengthy eons. If possible, they naturally did not wish to move. This was also why they still hadn't left after the Shadow Tribe's retreat. Regardless of who the master of this star domain was, as long as it didn't target them, everything would be all right. Chikuan Main Star. Lin Yuan stepped out of the Great Hall and entered the lair a cosmic spaceship, ready to head for the galactic star region. From today on, I'll call you Silver Galaxy. Lin Yuan set the destination as Milky Way star region and left the rest to the smart controls. With the control intelligence of Silver Galaxy, the entire journey was hardly a concern for Lin Yuan, who could freely choose the optimal route. Master, starting now, it will take 5 years to reach the Milky Way star region, a sweet voice echoed in Lin Yuan's ears, belonging to the control intelligence of the Silver Galaxy. 5 years. That's fine. Lin Yuan nodded. Without the Silver Galaxy, if he had to take those standard cosmic spaceships, he wouldn't think of reaching his destination in less than 20 years. The performance of the Silver Galaxy didn't just involve wormhole shuttle over large distances, but the cooldown between 2 wormhole shuttles was also not long. Whoosh! The Silver Galaxy turned into a black lightning bolt, instantly reaching the star platform of Chikuan Main Star, then sailed deep into the cosmic starry sky. Finally, the space slowly rippled with fluctuations, directly engaging in wormhole shuttle. Inside the Silver Galaxy, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. 5 years, which might be brief for other evolvers, were extremely precious for cultivation in Lin Yuan's eyes. With his against heaven's understanding of enlightenment, 5 years were enough for him to make significant progress. Chapter 424 Meeting the Galaxy Master. Please subscribe. _2 You should know, this is not about traversing worlds, it is the main world. In the traversing worlds, Lin Yuan had an abundance of time, but lacked many of the conveniences of the main world. For instance, the continuously fluctuating origin source of the battlefields of different races could provide Lin Yuan great benefits in comprehending the Space Core model. There was also that segment of a body from a supreme being of the Magic Jade Tower within the virtual world. Of course, the traversing worlds also have their advantages, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Inner world. It was vast and boundless, almost 30,000 miles in circumference. When he had newly advanced to the 8th rank, Lin Yuan's inner world had swelled to a circumference of 25,000 miles. But through cultivation and the continual enhancement of his understanding of space rules, the expansion speed of the world had increased noticeably. Now, it had even reached 28,000 miles. In the southeast corner of the inner world, Hongpi and Biayan, the two 8th-rank alien race members, had a numb look in their eyes. Ever since they were brought here by Lin Yuan, the shock in their hearts had never ceased. Wasn't it said that Peak Master Shursan had just entered the 8th rank? Could someone who had just entered the 8th rank possess such a vast inner world? After exchanging a glance, Hongpi and Biayan only felt their mouths becoming parched. Normally, the inner world of someone who had just entered the 8th rank would only have a circumference of 100 miles. Subsequently, as one cultivated further and deepened their understanding of space rules, the inner world would gradually expand. But as for Lin Yuan, Hongpi and Biayan, the two 8th rank members of the alien race, swallowed hard. Both in middle and later stages of the 8th rank together did not have an inner world 1/3 as large as that of Lin Yuan, who was in the early stages of the 8th rank. It was simply inconceivable. I finally understand why the Star Lord told us to follow the Peak Master and said what he did at the time. Hongpi was silent for a while before speaking dryly. The words Chiku and Star Lord had spoken roughly meant that they should simply follow Lin Yuan's commands. As for protecting Lin Yuan, not a word was mentioned. At that time, Hongpi and Biayan were somewhat puzzled. If Lin Yuan, as someone who had just entered the 8th rank, was going to sit in the fringe starfield, wasn't their mission to ensure his safety? Now it seems that Peak Master Shursan, who had just entered the 8th rank, did not need their protection at all. Based on the range of the inner world, Lin Yuan's strength was more than enough to easily crush both of them. The two 8th rank alien race beings pondered deeply. Their mission in following Lin Yuan was probably to handle the trifles, so that Lin Yuan would not waste his precious time on those matters. Abnormal. Too abnormal. How could human civilization have such an abnormality? Hongpi couldn't help but say, a person who matched the 8th rank peak just after entering the 8th rank was a rarity even among those special life forms. Perhaps, this is why human civilization has become a peak clan? Biayan murmured to himself in a low voice. The history of human civilization is not very long, only a little over 2 million years. But within such a short time, human civilization leapt to become a peak clan dominating the starry skies, because they gave birth to one genius after another. Here, genius does not simply refer to those talented in evolutionary paths but includes geniuses in all other areas as well. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 years went by. In the Milky Way star region, a black cosmic warship emerged from the wormholes. Master, we have arrived at the Milky Way star region, said a sweet voice that belonged to the main control intelligence of the Silver Galaxy. Inside the warship, Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes, hearing the sweet voice of the Silver Galaxy's main control intelligence. At last, we've arrived. Lin Yuan looked through the spaceship, gazing at the outer starry sky. He saw a star domain that resembled a silvery river hanging in the starry sky, incredibly dazzling and beautiful. 5 years. Lin Yuan's expression was somewhat reflective. These 5 years had allowed him to make tremendous strides in various aspects. Firstly, in the aspect of comprehending the core space model, Lin Yuan had now penetrated the 2092nd kind. One should know that there are a total of 7,782 types of core space models. Having comprehended 2,000 types equates to having completed a quarter of the journey. Even Chiku and Star-Lord had not fully penetrated all core space models. Once all the core space models were understood, it would be equivalent to mastering the complete space rules, and the vast universe would be his to traverse. Secondly, the opening of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path's 8th layer part was significant. If the opening of the 8th layer part is divided into 10 stages, then Lin Yuan was close to completing the 2nd stage. Bear in mind, any evolution path's 8th layer part is crucial for becoming a grand evolver in evolution studies. The 8th layer part of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path was even more difficult. Merely 5 years and he had reached the 2nd stage. Those grand evolvers would likely become despondent if they heard this. Even for an evolutionary scholar, starting from scratch to establish an 8th rank evolution path is no easy task. It requires a significant amount of time and energy, and even then, one may not necessarily gain the approval of the 3 goddesses. I've already conceived over 11,000 evolution paths. Why am I still just an ordinary member of the Magic Jade Tower? Lin Yuan pondered. In the 5 years since, Lin Yuan at intervals would comprehend that segment of his body. After advancing to the 8th rank, His realm had significantly improved. Even though he still had to withstand the psychic will pressure, his comprehension speed had definitely increased greatly. In just 5 short years, Lin Yuan had conceived more than 7,000 additional evolution paths. This was considering he only devoted part of his time to the task. Otherwise, it would have been even more. No matter. Just continue comprehending. Whether you're an ordinary member or a core one, what's crucial is enhancing one's own strength. Lin Yuan thought to himself, continuously conceiving new evolution paths, then dissecting them to extract their essence, which was his main goal. World-breaking origin force. I've accumulated 15 strands already. Lin Yuan felt the world-breaking origin force inside the majestic and grand door to the myriad realms deep within his mind, a smile appearing on his face. For Lin Yuan, the more world-breaking origin force, the better, as it meant more opportunities for interdimensional travel. It also represented an incredibly powerful life-saving ability. Because, using 50 strands of world-breaking origin force allowed for physical body transference. On the surface, physical body transference meant his physical body could descend and travel between worlds. Such a method of transference had its advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage was that if one died while traversing worlds, it could mean actual death. The advantage, however, was that all enhancements in the traversed worlds could be synchronized with the physical body. Plus, when evading assassination from the main world, one could use physical body transference for evasion. The worlds selected for transference by the door to the myriad realms were not in the same dimension or plane as the main world. Once Lin Yuan comfortably hid within, even a supreme being would be left helpless and merely watch. Let's go. Directly to the main star. Lin Yuan commanded the Silver Galaxy. Whoosh. The Silver Galaxy once again turned into a bolt of black lightning, vanishing into the starry sky. Milky Way main star. This was a high-class life planet. Since Lin Yuan was appointed as the Galaxy Master and designated this planet as the main star of the Milky Way star region, human officials from nearby star domains had arrived early to carry out a Class B transformation on this life planet. Furthermore, a large army of human evolvers was stationed here. This evolver army, left behind after human civilization took over the star domain, acted as the new Star Lord's left and right hands. The Star Lord should be arriving soon. Everyone be at your best. A man in an exquisite purple robe spoke in the skies above the Milky Way main star. Next to him stood a blonde man, and behind them a dense army of evolvers. The evolver army was mainly composed of 5th-rank evolvers, governed by hundreds of 6th-rank evolvers, with the purple-robed man and the blonde man, both 7th-rank evolvers, acting as leaders. Our Star Lord is really wealthy, directly going for a Class B transformation of the main star, the blonde man whispered. Usually, newly advanced 8th-rank evolvers are quite poor. When they go to a star domain to become a Star Lord, they opt for the free Class C transformation. A Class B transformation requires 100,000 cubic universe crystals, roughly equivalent to the entire assets of a senior 8th-rank evolver, including their weapons and treasures. The Star Lord is an unrivaled genius. He stepped into the 8th rank at the age of 100, and his teacher is the Chikuan Star Lord. Just the gifts received at his 8th rank celebration probably exceeded 100,000 cubic universe crystals, incomparable to an ordinary 8th rank Star Lord, said the purple-robed man, glancing at the blonde man. Indeed. The blonde man nodded, his expression showing admiration. He had been shocked for a long time when he first heard that the Milky Way Star Lord was the Shursan Peak Master of the Chikuan Star Domain, a peerless prodigy of human civilization. All right. The Star Lord is here. The purple-robed man seemed to sense something. His expression shifted slightly as he looked ahead. Space began to subtly undulate, and a sleek, black cosmic battleship appeared quietly. Greetings, Galaxy Master. The purple-robed man and the blonde man bowed together. Greetings, Galaxy Master. Behind them, a large army of evolvers knelt in unison, respectfully chanting, Greetings, Galaxy Master. Chapter 425 Lin Yuan's Arrival. Please subscribe. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Greetings to the Galaxy Master. Lin Yuan stepped out of the spaceship, facing the countless evolvers who bowed respectfully and knelt down to him. His mindset began to shift slightly. On the Chikuan main star, Lin Yuan had supreme power, and numerous evolvers showed him the utmost respect, but it all stemmed from the title of Chikuan Star Lord. Now, however, these evolvers were bowing to him as the Galaxy Master. To him, Lin Yuan. "Rise," Lin Yuan said. "Yes." The two leading evolvers, one in a purple robe and the other with a head of golden hair, straightened with reverence. "You two must be Chunbo and Jiali, correct?" Lin Yuan looked at them both. After confirming his position as Galaxy Master, Lin Yuan had received plenty of information, including details about Chunbo and Jiali. These two were specifically left behind by human civilization to help him take complete control over the Milky Way star region. Despite not being comparable to the two 8th rank members of a different species that his teacher gave him, they were both 7th rank evolvers. "Yes. I am honored that the Star Lord remembers our names," Chunbo and Jiali replied with respect. "All right, disperse them all now." Lin Yuan looked towards the dense crowd of evolvers behind them. "Yes." Chunbo nodded, turned to face the large army, and announced, "The Star Lord orders you all to disperse." His voice quickly reached the ears of every evolver. "Yes. By the will of the esteemed Star Lord." The large army of evolvers promptly dispersed in an orderly fashion. "Star Lord, let me introduce you to the main star," Chunbo immediately said. The Milky Way main star was vast, and although Lin Yuan had received relevant data in advance, it was impossible for everything about such a large star to be recorded. After roughly touring the main star, Chunbo and Jiali led Lin Yuan into a magnificent palace. "The B-level modification of the planet is almost complete, isn't it?" Lin Yuan asked. The modification of the Milky Way main star began as soon as Lin Yuan paid 100,000 cubic universe crystals. The nearby star alliance's evolvers hurried over and then started the transformation. "Yes. The planet modification is entering the final phase and is about to conclude," Chunbo immediately replied. The stronger the planetary defense system on the main star, the safer it was, and this gave Lin Yuan a sense of confidence and reassurance. "That's quite fast." Lin Yuan nodded. Aside from the travel time, the planet's modification had been ongoing for at most 3 to 4 years. In such a short time, to have transformed this planet into a forbidden area capable of easily suppressing most 8th rank evolvers was no small feat. "Who would dare not exert their full effort when working for the Star Lord?" remarked Jiali from beside him. The position of Galaxy Master was not merely a typical Star Lord. Not only was he the disciple of Chikuan's Star Lord, but he was also a top-tier genius with limitless potential from human civilization. The workers surely put in all their effort for the modification of his main star, not daring to slack off in the slightest. Of course, the main reason was that Lin Yuan had paid enough, 100,000 cubic universe crystals, of which the workers could also receive a share. "I have 2 subordinates who will assist you with the management of the main star," Lin Yuan said, looking at Jiali and Chunbo. The two from a different species gifted by the Chikuan Star Lord, Hongpi and the one with blue eyes, were not only 8th rank, but also possessed extensive experience in managing planets. Managing a planet well, especially the main star that serves as the economic and political center of a star domain, required a significant degree of steering capability. "All right." Chunbo and Jiali had no objections. For Lin Yuan, who was taking control of a new star domain for the first time, to place his trustworthy subordinates was perfectly normal. If Lin Yuan did not place his own people and trusted them completely, it would be Chunbo and Jiali who would feel anxious. Inner world. Hongpi and the one with blue eyes, both 8th rank members of a different species, had completely numbed themselves. 5 years. Just 5 years. For them, such a span was not even enough for a nap. Yet under the watchful eyes of the two 8th rank beings, Lin Yuan's inner world had exploded from nearly 300,000 miles in circumference before his departure to 700,000 miles. It had expanded by a full 400,000 miles. Is this even human? Hongpi and the one with blue eyes steadied themselves, trying to recover from the shock. Originally, they speculated whether Lin Yuan, newly advanced to the 8th rank, reached nearly 300,000 miles in his inner world by relying on some space-related rare treasure. Some treasures hidden deep in the cosmic starry skies were of great help in crafting an inner world, although there were many thresholds to using these treasures. At least it could somewhat explain how Lin Yuan's inner world reached nearly 300,000 miles when he first advanced to the 8th rank. But the events of the past 5 years had undoubtedly shattered the cognition of the two members of the 8th rank alien race. They watched step by step as Lin Yuan's inner world expanded daily, monthly, and yearly, until it reached the current circumference of 700,000 miles. Using some spatial treasures to boost the size of one's inner world upon its initial creation was imaginable. But to keep expanding after that would depend solely on one's comprehension of the space rules. In other words, Lin Yuan's expansion in the past 5 years was purely based on his understanding of the space rules. An inner world of 700,000 miles in circumference. Hongpi and the one with blue eyes forced themselves to remain calm. They had seen inner worlds of 700,000 miles. The Qikuan Star-Lord's inner world was even much larger. However, to soar from nearly 300,000 miles to nearly 700,000 miles in just 5 years. This was unheard of for them. Even the favorite child of the spatial origin source, the starry sky wanderer Kuan, born with its own inner world, could not possibly have such freakish growth in its core spatial model comprehension. Chapter 426 Lin Yuan's Arrival. Please subscribe. Underscore 2 The 2 8th rank alien species didn't know that most of Lin Yuan's time and energy had been devoted to perfecting the 8th stage martial Tao and contemplating the evolutionary path. If he fully immersed himself in understanding the core model of the space rules, the explosive growth of the inner world would have increased by a large margin. The Peak Master wants to let us out? We have already arrived at the Milky Way main star. Hongpi and the alien with green eyes showed a slight change in their expressions as they received the message from Lin Yuan. In a flash, the two of them disappeared from the inner world. Milky Way main star. Central Palace. Lin Yuan sat on the throne, looking down at Chun Bo and Jia Li. The next moment, Hongpi and the alien with green eyes appeared in the Great Hall. These are the subordinates under the Star-Lord? Seeing Hongpi and the green-eyed alien, Chun Bo and Jia Li were overwhelmed with shock. 8th rank. Both of them were at the 8th rank. Chun Bo and Jia Li's eyelids twitched involuntarily. Newly advanced to the 8th rank, yet possessing 2 subordinates of the 8th rank, such a move was simply. Do they really think 8th rank powerhouses are like cabbages on the side of the road? Available in abundance? Chun Bo and Jia Li recognized once again the fearsomeness of Lin Yuan's background. How much affection did the Qikuan Star-Lord have for him? The 4 of you will henceforth be responsible for many affairs within the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan said. Yes. Chun Bo and Jia Li responded immediately. Yes. Hongpi and the green-eyed alien also responded in kind. By the way, I need the detailed information on those special beings and alien lone walkers in the current star region, as well as their actions over the years. The more detailed the better, Lin Yuan stated. Having become the Star-Lord of a star domain, Lin Yuan naturally wouldn't allow anything beyond his control to exist within his domain. Those special beings and alien lone walkers fell within Lin Yuan's priority focus. Yes. Chun Bo and Jia Li bowed and said. After the 4 left, only Lin Yuan remained in the palace. My current strength. In terms of combat power, I have thoroughly reached the peak of the 8th rank, right? Perhaps even among the strongest below the 8th rank invincible? Lin Yuan thought to himself. Just the inner world spanning 70,000 miles in radius alone was sufficient to elevate Lin Yuan's combat prowess to the peak of the 8th rank. Moreover, the martial path evolutionary path that Lin Yuan practiced was particularly adept at fighting, and overpowering stronger opponents with weaker strength was as easy as turning one's hand. Why could the martial path evolutionary path overwhelm the 2 top 8th rank evolutionary paths on the Qikuan evolution rankings at the 7th rank level? Potential might be one aspect, but in terms of combat power, the martial path evolutionary path displayed an overwhelming advantage. From the 1st tier chapter to the 7th rank chapter, and now to the 8th layer part that Lin Yuan had created, each step of the martial path evolutionary path was derived from Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding, striving for perfection in every detail. Below the 8th rank invincible, I have few rivals. Even if I encounter an 8th rank invincible, as long as I don't foolishly clash head-on and choose to flee instead, I shouldn't have any problems, Lin Yuan assessed himself. Those at the 8th rank invincible master a cosmic force, placing their combat power above the 8th rank, but with Lin Yuan's current means of preservation, at least he wouldn't be like Oin, unable to withstand even a single move. In terms of soul defense, Lin Yuan had the 8th rank soul defense treasure to guard him, the magic jade mark to protect him, and a spirit will almost reaching 14,000 points. Even against soul-type 8th rank invincible evolvers, Lin Yuan believed he could withstand dozens of moves without dying. For physical defense, Lin Yuan had 8th rank armor to protect his body and the physical body divine ability, blood rebirth. Especially the latter. As long as Lin Yuan's physical body wasn't instantly crushed to nothingness, he effectively had an immortal body capable of quickly reborn. With these 2 methods of safeguarding his life, Lin Yuan might not be a match for an 8th rank invincible, but it wouldn't be easy for an 8th rank invincible to kill him either. Especially now that the Milky Way star region had been incorporated into the human civilization territory, Lin Yuan could, if he wished, summon a large number of human 8th rank evolvers in a short time. Several days later, Chun Bo and Jia Li delivered the intelligence on those special beings and alien lone walkers in the Milky Way star region. Lin Yuan carefully reviewed the information. These special beings are really too arrogant, Lin Yuan said after reading, shaking his head slightly. For those special lives birthed from the cosmos, it's instinct to consider everything within the universe as their possessions. Especially that being named Ao Du, who, every so often, needs to devour planets. Resource planets? Life planets? They are all mere dishes for Ao Du. Such behavior became most rampant after the Shadow Tribe retreated and human civilization was about to take over, even consuming dozens of life planets in a row. Life planets, suitable for living, hold extremely high strategic significance for human civilization. Only with a large population base can human civilization give birth to all sorts of geniuses. And those resource planets. Most resource planets can't compare in value to life planets of the same level. But a minority of resource planets contain precious ores and rare treasures, like that dead resource star fought over by the Wuxia starfield and the Golden Dragon star domain. If the kind of precious ore it contains is fully mined, it would be worth 10,000 cubic universe crystals. Such a huge sum of cosmic crystals made the Golden Dragon star domain green with envy, tangling with the Wuxia starfield in a contested struggle. Mine. Those resource planets, life planets, they are all mine. Lin Yuan's brows knitted tightly. As a Star Lord, he could claim a small portion of all the resource planets within the boundaries of his star domain, even though they belong to human civilization. And those life planets, soon human civilization would embark on widespread migration toward the Milky Way star region. At such a time, the more life planets, the greater the benefits. This Ao Du cannot be allowed to remain, Lin Yuan decided in his heart. The Shadow Tribe was wary of Ao Du's strength and background, but Lin Yuan didn't care. Human civilization, waging wars in all 8 directions, had never feared anyone. I will deal with it personally. Lin Yuan stood up and walked out of the palace. Ao Du was an 8th rank special life, nearly reaching the peak of the 8th rank. Moreover, Ao Du had deep connections with another 8th rank special life. They both lived on the same planet. In the current Milky Way star region, only Lin Yuan had the strength to face Ao Du upon the vast planet. The huge meat mountain frowned upon watching the blood-colored octopus slowly return from outside the planet. Ao Du, I've already told you to be more careful lately. Try not to go out. That Milky Way Star Lord is probably close now, the gigantic meat mountain said gravely. What will you do if you annoy that Milky Way Star Lord by going out at a time like this? It wasn't afraid of that Milky Way Star Lord, but it did fear the Chikuan Star Lord behind him, and even more so, the Human Civilization Alliance behind him. A mighty special life. What's wrong with devouring a few planets? Ao Du said nonchalantly. Lately, it truly had been low-key, no longer devouring life planets. But it still had to devour resource planets. Without the massive energy contained within them, Ao Du's advancement to the 4th stage of the 8th rank would be indefinitely delayed. But what if the Milky Way Star Lord finds out? What will you do then? The colossal meat mountain asked. Milky Way Star Lord? A mere evolver not even 100 years old. Even if he stepped into the 8th rank, how strong could he be? What can he do to us? Ao Du said with indifference. Oh, Milky Way Star Lord is easy to handle. But what about the Chikuan Star Lord? And what about the Human Civilization Alliance? The colossal meat mountain glanced at Ao Du. The reason I've been telling you to keep a low profile, to be cautious, isn't because of the Milky Way Star Lord, but because of the Human Civilization Alliance. The Human Civilization Alliance has already included this star domain within its territory. If we want to live comfortably, we have to watch the faces of the Human Civilization Alliance. As for that Milky Way Star Lord, what's he even worth? The voice of the huge meat mountain thundered. Relax. I just devoured a few resource planets. If that Milky Way Star Lord dares to come. Ao Du was silent for a moment, then began to speak. However, he hadn't finished speaking when his expression subtly changed. The massive meat mountain life seemed to sense something as well, its expression suddenly shifting. Who's there? Outside the planet, a man clothed in blue armor, his eyes calm, stood with his hands behind his back, looking down from on high, and quietly gazing at Ao and the gigantic meat mountain, smilingly said, "Tell me, what do you plan to do if the Milky Way Star-Lord dares to come?" Before the words ended, the man extended his right hand, ripples of space began to undulate, and the originally massive planet twisted and shrank violently, ultimately becoming the size of a palm and was caught in the man's hand. Ao and the colossal meat mountain life at this moment became two ants, filled with fear as they looked up at the titan who loomed above them from the heavens. Chapter 427. I'm so scared. Please subscribe. This is a mustard seed that can harbor the void? Ao's expression was ugly. The scene they were witnessing now, the man standing in the starry sky, had turned into a giant that reached up to the heavens and down to the earth. In fact, the man's stature had not changed. It was them and the planet beneath their feet that were rapidly shrinking under the compression of the space rules. Such a method could only be mastered by powerful beings with an extremely high understanding of the space rules. According to the definition of the space rules by human civilization, one must have penetrated at least 1,800 core space models to do so. Generally speaking, a powerful being who has penetrated so many core space models would likely be at the peak of the 8th rank. Ao was familiar with all the peak 8th rank powerhouses in the Milky Way star region and the surrounding regions. But they had never heard of that man in the green armor before? Ao was puzzled, feeling the space force pressing in from all around, which made their scalp tingle. It's the Galaxy Master. The massive fleshy mountain nearby recognized him at once. It was aware of much information about the Galaxy Master, including relevant images, and the current giant standing beyond the sky bore a strong resemblance to the Galaxy Master. Plus the sentence the other party had just said, "Tell me, what do you plan to do if the Galaxy Master dares to come?" The massive fleshy mountain was almost certain that the other party was the Galaxy Master. The Galaxy Master? Ao was somewhat dazed. They turned their head to look at the massive flesh mountain with confusion. Wasn't it said that the Galaxy Master had newly advanced to the 8th rank? How then could he reduce nearly 10 million li of planets to mesons with a mere wave of his hand? This level of spatial comprehension was not something even a peak 8th rank powerhouse might achieve. Yet the Galaxy Master, who was just newly advanced to the 8th rank, had done it? Starry Sky Alliance, Xianxia, has seen the Galaxy Master. The massive fleshy mountain did not pay attention to Ao's disbelief, and hastily spoke with a hint of respect. Although it also found it hard to comprehend how the Galaxy Master could possess such tremendous strength, now was not the time to contend over these matters. The most important thing was to ease the atmosphere between them. Starry Sky Alliance, Ao, has seen the Galaxy Master. Seeing this, Ao also followed suit immediately. Use special life forms, taking advantage of your noble bloodlines to act recklessly one after another. Now this star region is the domain of human civilization, wantonly devouring planets. Lin Yuan spoke indifferently. Do you really think we humans are like the Shadow Tribe? The Shadow Tribe, when dealing with these special life forms, was very tolerant. One reason was a reluctance to offend the forces behind these special life forms, and the other was that these special life forms themselves are not easy to deal with. Thus, normally, the strong ones of the Shadow Tribe would turn a blind eye, such as Ao, who enjoyed devouring planets. As long as it was not too excessive, they would not interfere. We were wrong, Galaxy Master. The color on the massive fleshy mountain's face changed slightly. Through these words, it sensed that the Galaxy Master was somewhat dissatisfied. After today, we will obediently leave and will definitely not appear before the Galaxy Master again. The massive fleshy mountain Xianxia immediately said. Even if the Galaxy Master truly was only newly advanced to the 8th rank, upon learning of his attitude, the best choice for the two special life forms was to leave. After all, as the master of a star region, the Galaxy Master had plenty of ways to deal with them. Call on friends? Ask a teacher to intervene? These were all possibilities. Moreover, the strength that the Galaxy Master had just displayed was not inferior to that of a peak 8th rank, and his ill will was entirely unbearable for the two special life forms. You've swallowed so many of my planets, and you think you can just walk away lightly? Lin Yuan shook his head slightly, and with a mere thought, a tremendous force began to press down on the planet in his hand. Boom! Terrifying power swept across the surface of the planet. Lin Yuan still held back, otherwise, the planet would have collapsed instantly. Not good. The massive fleshy mountain's form suddenly swelled up, struggling to withstand the crushing force from all directions. However, Xianxia had a premonition that it couldn't hold out for long. How can this Galaxy Master be so monstrous? Is this what you call being newly advanced to the 8th rank? Is this what you call under 100 years old? The massive fleshy mountain Xianxia felt bitterly distressed. It looked at Ao not far away, who had been forced to reveal their true form, but under the Galaxy Master's mustard seed technique, Ao's true form was only the size of a little finger, devoid of all the majesty of a special life form, and instead seemed somewhat cute. Galaxy Master. After struggling for over a dozen breaths, the massive fleshy mountain life form Xianxia once again spoke. I am willing to pay 20,000 cubic universe crystals to compensate for the loss of the Star Lord. The massive fleshy mountain life was inwardly bitter. Most of the planets it had devoured were during the time when the Shadow Tribe ruled this star region, but there was nothing it could do, as now everything was decided by the Galaxy Master. I am willing as well. Ao also said. They were also finding it hard to hold on. 20,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan glanced at the two special life forms. A normal 8th rank powerhouse might possess a number of universe crystals ranging from a few thousand to 10,000. Human beings who advanced to the 8th rank were somewhat wealthier, but not by much, at most just over 10,000. But these two special life forms were willing to cough up 20,000 cubic universe crystals straight away, clearly quite wealthy. This was understandable, as special life forms had long lifespans and many talents and abilities, which over the long years accumulated to make each of them excessively rich. What do you say, Galaxy Master? 20,000 cubic universe crystals should be enough to compensate you, said the massive fleshy mountain life form Xianxia, bleeding inwardly. It had cultivated the doppelganger skill, and its true body was in a distant star domain, but even so, this doppelganger that it had refined over many years nearly matched its true body in combat power. Chapter 428 I'm so scared, please subscribe. Under 2 if he were to fall, knowing how many years it would take to once again refine such a true body was beyond one's imagination. As long as this avatar is preserved, sacrificing some cosmic crystals is acceptable. The immense fleshy life form thought to itself. Over the long years, the investment in this avatar had been much more than 20,000 cubic cosmic crystals. Foolish. Lin Yuan did not stop, driving the immense power of the world, and continued to crush forward. If I killed you, wouldn't all those cosmic crystals be mine anyway? Galaxy Master, do you really plan to leave no way out? The immense flesh mountain life form Xianxia turned pale. It was willing to pay 20,000 cubic cosmic crystals, yet the Galaxy Master still intended to wipe them out completely? Galaxy Master, do you realize that we are members of the Starry Sky Alliance? Have you asked the Starry Sky Alliance if you want to kill us? Ao finally couldn't hold back and spoke out. If it weren't absolutely necessary, it really didn't want to bring up the Starry Sky Alliance, given that this meant completely falling out with the Galaxy Master. Starry Sky Alliance? The expression on Lin Yuan's face didn't change. The Starry Sky Alliance, many special life forms, formed to resist humans, the insect race, and other peak clans. However, the structure of the Starry Sky Alliance was loose. After all, it was composed of various special life forms, and they were not as cohesive as humans and the insect race. But it was not to be underestimated. The reason why the Shadow Tribe tolerated Ao and Xianxia was largely because of the Starry Sky Alliance behind them. But while the Shadow Tribe was wary of the Starry Sky Alliance, human civilization was not. Human civilization, with many evolvers, extracting countless special life forms' blood essence to create bloodline potions, was a bestseller. Correct, Galaxy Master. We are members of the Starry Sky Alliance, the immense flesh mountain Xianxia immediately said. At this point, they could only bring up the Starry Sky Alliance. Starry Sky Alliance, Lin Yuan's corner of the mouth lifted. Ha ha ha, I'm so scared. Laughing, the terrifying soul fluctuations mixed with the force of the world, turned into a storm, heading towards Ao. No. Facing the greatly increased assault, Ao's body trembled. With a bang, it turned into a massive blood mist, even its soul rapidly dispersing. Ao, the immense flesh mountain life form Xianxia was shaken. Ao didn't cultivate the doppelganger skill. With its death, it was truly dead. You can accompany it as well. Lin Yuan looked at the immense flesh mountain life form, not forgetting to collect Ao's blood essence mist and the opponent's spatial devices, all into his bag. Since Lin Yuan dared to come, he was not concerned about the Starry Sky Alliance backing the two special life forms. The Chiquan Star-Lord had told him in the Milky Way star region, as long as he didn't betray human civilization, he could act freely, everything would be covered by human civilization. Galaxy Master, I will remember you. The immense flesh mountain Xianxia glared at Lin Yuan viciously, seeming to activate some technique. Its body began to rapidly shrink, and finally, along with the ubiquitous space force fluctuations, it vanished in an instant. As a special life form, Xianxia was much more cautious than Ao. Upon learning that human civilization had taken over this star region, it reduced the frequency of devouring planets. In contrast, Ao was still fishing in troubled waters. Its cautious character prepared many life-saving means for Xianxia. This kind of spatial transposition skill was obtained by Xianxia at a great cost. It could, in an instant, move several light-years away. Yin Yang Taiji. Isolation. Lin Yuan's pupils, one Yin and one Yang. The Taiji world phantom instantly enveloped nearly 100 million miles. The space began to solidify. The world phantom, not a world, was a projection of the inner world cast to the outside, which could be many times that of the inner world. At 80 million miles away, a sound like hitting a wall came. The immense flesh mountain life-form Xianxia was bewilderingly forced to appear. This. Xianxia looked around. Isolated space? World phantom? This is a technique mastered by only 2,000 Space Corps models, and the inner world must at least reach a radius of 600,000 miles. What kind of monster is this Galaxy Master? Xianxia felt somewhat desperate. Normally, the inner world of an 8th rank peak evolver was around 500,000 miles in radius. The larger the inner world, the stronger the 8th rank evolver's power. Relying on the immense inner world, it could even affect the external spacetime. If the individual's spatial awareness was sufficient, the influence exerted would even be greater. Now, Xianxia was abruptly interrupted by this isolating force during its transposition. Lin Yuan took a step forward. He arrived above Xianxia. Galaxy Master, I beg for mercy, just spare me once. The massive fleshy mountain of life began to plead instinctively, as it couldn't withstand the strength displayed by the Galaxy Master now. Moreover, its teleportation method had been forcibly interrupted, and it couldn't perform a second instance for a short period. So the only way the massive fleshy mountain of life could survive was by begging Lin Yuan. However, before it could finish speaking, Lin Yuan waved his hand. A massive force of the world, mixed with a soul attack, struck Xianxia. The sound of crashing. The massive, fleshy mountain of life, Xianxia, turned into an endless mist of blood. Lin Yuan then collected it all, as the blood essence of such special life was quite valuable, worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of cosmic crystals when made into a bloodline potion. I can feel that this special life hasn't died. Lin Yuan looked thoughtfully towards a certain direction. When he killed Ao, Lin Yuan did it smoothly, and the death of his opponent brought no confusion to Lin Yuan. But when killing Xianxia, Lin Yuan felt a peculiar sensation. Karma. The true body of this special life is still alive, Lin Yuan quietly thought to himself. The rules of karma are very mysterious, able to derive many special skills, like the curse-killing skill. So long as life exists and interacts with the outside world, karma naturally forms. Therefore, entering the rules of karma is quite easy. For a being newly advanced to the 8th rank, almost all have an introductory understanding of the rules of karma. And once one enters the realm of the rules of karma, they can sense many karmic ties, just like Lin Yuan killing Ao, upon completely annihilating him, due to Ao's fall. The karmic connection between Lin Yuan and him ceased. But right after Lin Yuan killed Xianxia, even though the opponent died, their connection still existed, which meant Xianxia hadn't died. This is the simplest application of the rules of karma. Of course, it's easy to get started with the rules of karma. But mastering it in depth is incredibly difficult, even harder than fully comprehending the complete space rules. In a distant star domain, within a cosmic secret realm, I spent hundreds of thousands of years and countless efforts to refine an avatar, and just like that, it's gone? Xianxia felt utterly hollow. For such a cautious special life, an avatar is very important. The true body hidden here with the avatar venturing out was meant to be foolproof. But now, the avatar is gone. To create another would take centuries or millennia, and even then, it wouldn't be as good as the previous one. My avatar, my treasures, my cosmic crystals. Xianxia felt like crying but had no tears. I shouldn't have hesitated. Regret surged in Xianxia's heart. Usually, after the Shadow Tribe retreated, it should have followed suit. After all, the one coming in to dominate that star region was the Human Civilization Alliance. But Xianxia harbored blind hope, thinking that even if human civilization took over, it might not necessarily harbor any malice towards him. Not every human star overlord shuns special life forms. And even if the new human star overlord did bear ill will, couldn't one just flee when the time came? The new star overlord of human civilization, typically a newly advanced evolver to the 8th rank, had no chance of retaining such a being nearly at the peak of 8th rank. But who could have imagined that the Galaxy Master would be so monstrous? Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Thinking of the Galaxy Master's methods, Xianxia couldn't help but shudder. All along, Xianxia harbored no thoughts of revenge, joking, right? Seek revenge? Against the Galaxy Master? Against the Human Civilization Alliance? Even the supreme beings of the Grand Starry Sky Alliance couldn't manage it. So what could he, a mere special life form, use to seek revenge? It would be fortunate enough just to save his own life. Chapter 429 The Tremor of the Milky Way Star Region, subscription requested. Although Lin Yuan was aware that Xianxia wasn't dead, he didn't pay too much attention to it. With Lin Yuan's cultivation speed, he could crush Xianxia now. What about later on? The one who should fear was the other party. Let's take a look at the spoils of war. Lin Yuan placed the giant planet back onto the star Dao. This planet, capable of being used as a nest by 2 8th-layer special life forms, was naturally extraordinary and was considered rare among high-tier life planets, enveloping tons of gentle cosmic energy. When Lin Yuan struck at Aodu and Xianxia, he also did his best to avoid damaging the planet, restraining the aftermath to the planet's surface. Special life blood essence. The first thing was the large amount of blood essences that Lin Yuan had collected. Cosmic special life forms were rare, many of which were bred by the universe and incapable of reproduction. Their blood essences were far superior to humans. Human civilization had, long ago, attempted to integrate these special life forms' bloodlines into human bloodlines to get stronger offspring. This gave birth to bloodline potions. Through special means, extracting the blood of special life forms to produce bloodline potion essences. These could be integrated into one's own offspring's bloodline, and for those evolvers looking to establish a family, a single bloodline potion essence was enough to make the family prosper for long years. Speaking of which, I still have a 3-headed ice wolf blood essence potion. Lin Yuan seemed to recall something, a smile appearing on his face. The 3-headed ice wolf blood essence potion was one of the legacies left by 8th-layer evolutionist Oin, sourced from the special life 3-headed ice wolf. Back then, to create such a potion, evolutionist Oin had slaughtered countless 3-headed ice wolves. I could probably make 8 or 9 bloodline potions. Lin Yuan roughly calculated based on the blood left by Xianxia and Aodu. These 2 special life forms were gigantic, almost comparable to ordinary life planets. Naturally, their blood was much more plentiful than that of the 3-headed ice wolf. Although the 3-headed ice wolf was also a special life form, it was only dozens of meters in size, far less than Xianxia and Aodu 8 or 9 bloodline potions. Even if one is only 3,000 cubic universe crystals, it adds up to nearly 30,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan was in a good mood. Many human 8th-layer evolvers, with all their treasures and weapons combined, were only worth about 10,000 cubic universe crystals. Yet now Lin Yuan's gains, just from the blood essences, amounted to the entire fortunes of 3 8th-layer evolvers. This was still him possibly underestimating the bloodline potions. In reality, most bloodline potions were worth more than 3,000 cubic universe crystals each. Next, Lin Yuan began to explore the many treasures of the 2 special life forms. Really quite wealthy. No wonder they offered 20,000 universe crystals. Lin Yuan exclaimed in admiration. The 2 special life forms, Xianxia and Aodu, had amassed a collection of many treasures, ores, weapons, etc., summing up to more than 60,000 cubic universe crystals. Among them, Xianxia contributed more than 40,000 cubic universe crystals, and Aodu contributed over 20,000 cubic universe crystals. Including the bloodline essences made from these 2 special life forms' bloodlines, Lin Yuan's income from this venture was estimated to be over 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Never expected to recoup the cosmic crystals for the planetary transformation so quickly? A smile spread across Lin Yuan's face. The B-level transformation of the Milky Way main star had cost Lin Yuan 100,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan initially thought that these 100,000 cubic universe crystals would only be earned back once the Milky Way star region was fully operational and trade channels were established. But now, by merely cleaning up 2 special life forms, he had broken even. Continue. There are a few more targets. Lin Yuan immediately headed in another direction. After obtaining detailed information on the many special life forms and alien lone walkers entrenched in the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan classified these special life forms and alien lone walkers into 2 categories. The first type was like Xianxia and Ao, which fed on planets. Leaving them was detrimental and useless to the Milky Way star region. Thus, Lin Yuan's approach to these special life forms was either to kill them directly, permanently eliminating future troubles, or to drive them out of the Milky Way star region. The second type, which didn't impact the star region and could form a symbiotic relationship with the Milky Way star region, included some special life-form groups capable of producing treasures and rare items with incredible effects on human evolvers. As long as these special life-form groups were compliant, Lin Yuan was willing to let them stay and even assign protection for them. The targets Lin Yuan was now rushing towards were the first type of special life forms and alien lone walkers. After tasting the sweetness of success, Lin Yuan knew he had to move as fast as possible. Otherwise, once the news spread, those special life forms would probably have fled far away in fear. On a desolate planet, Lin Yuan's figure appeared, a massive shadow of world force suppressing the entire planet. 2 alien lone walkers knelt down without hesitation. Lord, spare our lives, Lord, spare our lives. Compared to Xianxia, these 2 alien lone walkers obviously lacked sufficient intelligence, not even recognizing the Galaxy Master. Even if they didn't know Lin Yuan's identity, just the oppressive force of the world power made them feel like it was the end of the world. This man in blue armor markedly stronger than them. Most likely a peak 8th layer powerhouse. Sir, there must be some misunderstanding between us. I hope you can give us a chance. The 2 alien lone walkers pleaded extremely humbly. Chapter 430 The Tremor of the Milky Way Star Region, subscription requested. Under 2 Lin Yuan looked down from beyond the skies at these 2 alien lone walkers. If you feed on the souls of life, when my fellow human citizens migrate here, won't they all become your sustenance? They cannot be allowed to remain. Lin Yuan pronounced judgment on these 2 different species. Taking advantage of the fact that human citizens have not yet migrated here, all potential threats must be eradicated, or there will be trouble later. Human citizens migrating here. The hearts of the 2 alien lone walkers turned cold. Indeed, they relished devouring living souls, but had they ever actually preyed on human citizens? However, before they could continue this train of thought, they felt their consciousness plunge into darkness. With a mere thought from Lin Yuan, the 2 alien lone walkers were reduced to dust. Theoretically, these 2 alien lone walkers had not lifted a finger against humans. But to be on the safe side, Lin Yuan couldn't be bothered to make distinctions. After all, they were both different species who enjoyed consuming souls, and keeping them around wouldn't create any value. It was simpler to kill them. As for expulsion, nearby were all human civilization star domains. To expel them to another star domain would be to harm the human citizens there, wouldn't it? Half a day later, Lin Yuan's figure appeared in front of a star. In the distance, an alien creature covered in scales and sporting a sharp horn fled in a frenzy. However, when the creature saw Lin Yuan standing in the distance, it came to an abrupt stop, filled with a look of despair. Galaxy Master, I admit my methods have indeed been cruel, but that was all directed towards the Shadow Tribe. The horned alien could not help but say. Not long ago, it had learned that the Galaxy Master was hunting down some particularly brutal special life forms and alien lone walkers. But before it could react, the Galaxy Master appeared. Without a second thought, the creature began to flee frantically, although it did not understand how the newly advanced to the 8th rank Galaxy Master was able to easily slay several 8th rank aliens. But running was the right move. If that's the case, after the Shadow Tribe withdrew, why did you remain in this star domain? Lin Yuan looked at the horned alien, speaking calmly. The horned alien was suddenly at a loss for words. It had stayed behind naturally, to test the temper of the new Star Lord. If the new Star Lord was indifferent to such matters, it would continue, as before, to occasionally devour human citizens for cultivation. If the new Star Lord was assertive, then it would obediently leave. This was the common thought process among most special life forms and alien lone walkers. Little did they know that the Galaxy Master was so decisively lethal that they were given no chance for testing the waters. Whoosh! The next moment, the horned alien's form turned to dust. Lin Yuan, not wasting words with the horned alien, eliminated it with a direct strike and continued towards the next target. Lin Yuan, according to his own classification of those special life forms and alien lone walkers, would kill any that fell into the first category. The Star Lords of human civilization often acted with a gentle hand, generally not opting for kill unless there were direct harms to human citizens. But Lin Yuan's methods were clearly far more ruthless. In the cosmic starry sky where strength reigned supreme, if one day human civilization declined, those different species wouldn't hesitate to slaughter humans. Therefore, even though some alien lone walkers hadn't acted against human citizens, just harboring the thought was enough for Lin Yuan to show no mercy. To judge by actions, not intentions, was a standard applied within the same human race. In dealing with other species, unless they were submissive to human civilization or had formed alliances with it, Lin Yuan would scarcely hold back. Spare not those who deserve no quarter. Several days later, Lin Yuan had essentially purged the first category of special life forms and alien lone walkers. 90% of these special life forms and alien lone walkers died by Lin Yuan's hand, while the remaining 10% managed to escape by luck. It couldn't be helped. Acting against one at a time made it easy for news to leak. Some aliens' avatars were not in the Milky Way star region, and once the avatar died, the original could spread the message, warning some alien lone walkers to escape in time. But overall, Lin Yuan's departure from the Milky Way main star was fruitful, largely achieving his goal. Those first-class special life groups, alien lone walkers, have basically disappeared from the Milky Way star region. When Lin Yuan commenced a massacre of the special life groups and alien lone walkers in the Milky Way star region, it naturally alarmed other forces. These forces, mostly special life groups, were deemed by Lin Yuan as second class, with the potential to aid in the development of the Milky Way star region, so they did not interfere. In this star domain, many 7th rank and 8th rank powerhouses have fallen. Just among those I know, there are 13 7th rank and 1 8th rank that have completely died. What exactly happened? Those 8th rank special lives, each with incredible means of preservation, who could easily kill them? Some of the alien strong ones I knew are also dead. A special life group named Floral Deity Race, where many powerhouses gathered, were discussing anxiously and uneasily. Although the Floral Deity Race is a special life group, its direct combat ability is not strong, yet the race can reproduce normally. The members of the Floral Deity Race can brew a kind of exquisite liquor called Flower God Wine, which, when consumed by most life forms, can lead to a short period of mental clarity, tremendously aiding in the comprehension of rules and secret techniques. It was for this reason that during the Shadow Tribe's rule over this area, the Floral Deity Race managed to barely survive by offering Flower God Wine as tribute. Have you noticed that the 7th rank and 8th rank powerhouses who died all belong to those types with cruel methods, who would devour planets readily? A Floral Deity Race powerhouse, who looked like a young girl, suddenly said. She was a 7th rank powerhouse and now one of the strongest in the Floral Deity Race. However, the combat power of the Floral Deity Race's 7th rank powerhouses was basically at the bottom, and they were not even as strong as those among the human civilization who had the basic destructive capabilities of the 7th rank, solely through the use of 7th rank evolution elixirs. Yes, indeed it is so. Even 8th rank powerhouses have died, yet our Floral Deity Race is still alive and well. The other Floral Deity Race powerhouses caught on and began to discuss among themselves. At this moment, a Floral Deity Race powerhouse with butterfly wings slightly changed her expression. She stood up, looked towards the rest of the Floral Deity Race powerhouses, and said, "Everyone, I have just received a message." This Floral Deity Race powerhouse looked around gravely. A message? What message? Hurry up and tell us, what message is it? One by one, the Floral Deity Race powerhouses inquired, knowing that a message received at this time was very likely related to the inexplicable deaths of the 7th rank and 8th rank members of the alien races. The one targeting those 7th rank and 8th rank members of the alien races is the Galaxy Master, a peerless genius of human civilization. His action was to eradicate all unstable elements within the Milky Way star region. The standing Floral Deity Race powerhouse said with a solemn tone. The Galaxy Master? I know of this human genius, but wasn't he said to be newly advanced to the 8th rank? Yes, newly advanced to the 8th rank. Slaying those almost at the peak 8th rank alien strong ones as if slaughtering pigs and dogs? The many floral deity race powerhouses were shocked. Those 8th rank special lives, alien lone walkers, who were adept at fighting with inconceivable methods, have they all been killed? There were two possibilities. One possibility is that these 8th rank special lives and alien lone walkers were all show and no substance, easily defeated. But this likelihood was virtually nil. If so, how could they have coexisted peacefully with the Shadow Tribe for so many years? Did they really take the Shadow Tribe for philanthropists? The other possibility was that the power of the Galaxy Master was beyond comprehension, which was why he could easily dispose of those special lives and alien lone walkers. I am grateful that our floral deity race is still of some use, otherwise. The standing floral deity race powerhouse sighed. According to the information she had, the killing conducted by the Galaxy Master was not irrational but selectively targeted. The floral deity race posed no danger to the star region but could brew the flower god wine, which was highly beneficial to evolvers. Was that why they were spared by the Galaxy Master? All right. No matter what you all think, the floral deity race powerhouse steadied herself, subdued the shock in her heart, and continued speaking. Previously in this star region, the heavens were the Shadow Tribe, those powerful special lives, the alien lone walkers. Now in this star region, there is only one heaven. She paused for a moment, then said with a fervent tone, and that is the Galaxy Master. Chapter 431, Grasping the Taiyang Rule, subscription requested. The Galaxy Master relentlessly persecuted special life groups, as well as alien lone walkers, and the situation continued to ferment. Even though it was speculated that the targets of the Galaxy Master's persecution were those who had caused severe damage to the environment within the star domain, or those who enjoyed consuming the soul and flesh of living beings. It still caused panic among the remaining special life groups, as well as the alien lone walkers. The Galaxy Master is too overbearing. Back then, the Chikuan Starlord was the same, showing no mercy towards us special lives. The Galaxy Master is establishing his power. Without these ruthless methods, how can he fully take control of this star domain in the future? Outside the floral deity race, various special life forms and alien lone walkers discussed. These special life forms and alien lone walkers, although without the virtual world of human civilization capable of real-time communication without delay, also had their own means of communication, which could enable basic communication within a star domain. What shall we do now? What can we do? Surrender, of course. Do we dare to oppose the Human Civilization Alliance? Gentlemen, don't be hasty. The Galaxy Master's cleansing method indicates he intends to fully control this star domain. We, the different species, can only choose to submit, but Lord Bei Feng surely won't submit so easily, a powerful special life form said. Lord Bei Feng. The rest of the special life forms and alien lone walkers fell silent at the mention of his name. As a territory once ruled by the Shadow Tribe, the Milky Way star region had many special life forms and alien lone walkers as permanent residents. Among these special life forms and alien lone walkers, there were no lack of 8th rank powerhouses, and Lord Bei Feng was undoubtedly the strongest. He was the indisputable peak powerhouse of the 8th layer. Lord Bei Feng came from the Golden Lion clan, a powerful group within the universe. Lord Bei Feng traveled the universe and came to this star domain to prepare for his breakthrough to the 9th rank. An 8th rank powerhouse does not necessarily need to master a type of cosmic force to become invincible and then break through to the 9th rank. As long as one reaches the peak pinnacle of the 8th layer, there is hope to merge with the fusion rules and then assault the 9th rank. Lord Bei Feng was at the peak pinnacle of the 8th layer. However, at Lord Bei Feng's level, external forces could hardly help him make that step. As a result, Lord Bei Feng spent most of his time in retreat, indifferent to the affairs of the outside world. He belonged to the second category of special life forms and alien lone walkers defined by Lin Yuan. Lord Bei Feng is very powerful. Surely that Galaxy Master wouldn't dare to impose on him? Very powerful? Is he as strong as the Chikuan Starlord? As strong as the human civilization? Regardless, this matter between the Galaxy Master and Lord Bei Feng is their own. We can only go with the flow. Many special life forms and alien lone walkers discussed a great deal, but ultimately they dispersed. Whatever the outcome of the negotiations between the Galaxy Master and Lord Bei Feng, it was irrelevant to them. This star domain was destined to be ruled by the Galaxy Master. Who would have thought that even hiding here, I cannot meditate in peace? A burly elder with golden hair said, sitting cross-legged in the void. His aura merged with the starry sky, vast and expansive, spreading out for tens of millions of miles in every direction. A once-in-lifetime human genius, entering the 8th layer before the age of 100, and now even possessing combat power of the 8th layer's peak? This golden-haired burly elder was none other than Lord Beifeng, the peak powerhouse of the 8th layer. Better not to provoke any trouble, better to find another place. The golden-haired burly elder sighed, stood up, took a step, and with a ripple of spatial fluctuation, his figure appeared tens of millions of miles away. The Golden Lion clan, although not part of the Human Civilization Alliance, bore no significant grudge against human civilization. There was no need for Beifeng to have any interaction with the Galaxy Master. The retreat of Lord Beifeng, the strongest in this star domain, truly shocked the special life forms and alien lone walkers. They had originally thought that with Lord Beifeng's strength, even if he dared not confront the Galaxy Master directly, he would at least negotiate to secure some benefits before leaving. Instead, he had not even thought twice before evacuating this star domain. Milky Way main star. The Golden Lion clan, Beifeng? Lin Yuan also learned right away of the news that an 8th rank peak powerhouse of a different species had voluntarily left. Quite cautious, Lin Yuan smiled faintly, knowing that even though Lord Beifeng was powerful, he was mostly in retreat and did not significantly impact the outside world. Lin Yuan hadn't planned to act against him, but the latter's cooperation made him feel quite pleased. Now the entire Milky Way star region has basically been cleared. There's no need for me to concern myself further, Lin Yuan thought to himself. As the master of the Milky Way star region, Lin Yuan's greatest role was deterrence, presiding over the main star and intimidating all corners of the region. As for managing the main star, developing the star domain, naturally, these were not tasks for the Star Lord, but for his subordinates to handle. The Chicoan Star Lord spent most of his time either in retreat or sleeping, and the Chicoan star domain was just fine, overseen by 3 goddesses, with no major issues likely to arise. The 2 8th rank alien races given to Lin Yuan by the Chicoan Star Lord were there to manage the main star and the star domain. Continue my practice and pursue enlightenment. Lin Yuan closed his eyes. Whether on the Chicoan main star or now on the Milky Way main star, there wasn't much difference for him. Most of his time was spent on cultivation. In another palace, Hongpi, Biayan, as well as Chunbo and Jiali, the 4 were gathered together. Those different species, they're just too obedient. We tell them to come, and they come without even proposing any conditions? Jiali looked at the replies from the different species, his tone inevitably astonished. Chapter 432 Grasping the Taiyang Rule, Subscription Requested. Understood the Milky Way star region needs stable trade channels for development. Especially on the main star, various merchants must be stationed. And the top choice for these merchants, naturally, are those indigenous different species within the star domain, all of which have their own capabilities and techniques, such as the flower god wine of the floral deity race. It is quite famous in the nearby dozens of star domains. Originally, to invite these alien tribes to station themselves, something had to be offered first, such as promises of rent-free. But before they could propose these offers, the alien tribes actively cooperated, not daring to set any conditions. After the Star Lord's purge, how could those alien races dare to disobey? Hongpi, with green eyes, do not find anything unexpected. The Chicoan Star Lord had been even more domineering than Lin Yuan back in the day. Those indigenous alien tribes had to be obedient in order to survive. However, a look passed between Hongpi and the green-eyed being, both 8th rank alien races, and still a shock shone deep in their eyes. What shocked them was not the exceedingly compliant alien races, but Lin Yuan's strength. In order to assist Lin Yuan in controlling the Milky Way star region as much as possible, they had made dozens of plans before coming here. Scheming to win people over one by one, promising significant benefits, all with the aim of quickly seizing control of the Milky Way star region. But now, none of the plans they formulated were needed. Lin Yuan, with his absolute strength, terrified those alien races. Even though these 2 8th rank alien races had long known about Lin Yuan's inner world, with a radius of 700,000 li, and combat power almost reaching the peak of the 8th layer, however, just having combat power at the peak of the 8th layer doesn't mean you can freely slaughter those 8th rank alien races. 8th rank alien races are not fools. Knowing they can't win, why would they willingly stay to be killed? Lin Yuan easily retained those 8th rank alien races, relying not only on combat power, but also on a strength that was nearly flawless in all aspects. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had gone by. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged, slowly perfecting his martial path evolutionary path. Suddenly, everyone on the Milky Way main star felt a scorching surge as if a great sun had descended. Chun Bo and Jia Li's expressions changed slightly. They looked toward the source of this disturbance, which was at the palace where the Galaxy Master cultivated. In the void, light and heat began to fill the space, as if a great sun had fallen to the ground, and that palace seemed to have turned into a miniature sun. It's the manifestation of rule fluctuations, the fire system rules taking shape. Hongpi and the green-eyed being were excited. They knew all too well what this scene meant. Fire system rule manifestation. Could it be the Star-Lord has penetrated some kind of fire system rule? Chun Bo and Jia Li's eyes widened. Penetrating any kind of rule, even just a regular one, is a domain only peak 8th layer powerhouses could touch. Lin Yuan had entered the 8th layer not long ago, and although his combat power was not inferior to those at the peak, combat power and realm are two different things. Lin Yuan possesses combat power at the peak of the 8th layer, possibly due to an abnormal evolutionary path he cultivated, a powerful secret technique he mastered, or some other fortuitous encounter. But penetrating some kind of rule can only rely on oneself. The fact that the Galaxy Master penetrated some kind of fire system rule indicates that he has fully mastered this power. The Star-Lord, Hongpi and the green-eyed being fell silent, having spent a great deal of time in Lin Yuan's inner world. They are aware that the Galaxy Master's understanding of the space rules has reached an incredibly deep level. But now, Lin Yuan has quietly penetrated some kind of fire system rule? Could it be that there is life in this universe that can leap from a day to 100 or 1,000 years? Deep within the palace, Lin Yuan opened his eyes, a look of satisfaction on his face. Taiyang rule. Lin Yuan looked up slightly. Endless light and heat from all directions converged toward him, forming a sun seal the size of a thumb, which finally merged into Lin Yuan's forehead and vanished from sight. I didn't expect to penetrate the Taiyang rule so unconsciously. Lin Yuan's mind was filled with pleasure. He had never deliberately comprehended the Taiyang rule. It was only during the refinement of the martial path evolutionary path that the Taiyang rule and the Taiyin rule were being continuously understood more deeply. The martial path evolutionary path that Lin Yuan followed was structured upon Taiyin, Taiyang, and Taiji as the framework. In its perfection, the understanding of the Taiyang and Taiyin rules advanced as if rising with the tide. This early comprehension of the Taiyang rule is also related to the Red Kuan lineage incorporating many fire system evolution paths. Lin Yuan thought to himself. As the 13th peak master of the Red Kuan lineage, Lin Yuan naturally had a thorough understanding of the evolution paths his family had amassed. The Red Kuan lineage was most skilled in the fire and space rules, after all. The Star-Lord, Chikuan Star-Lord, had walked these two paths. Hence, among the many evolution paths they had collected, those based on fire and space were dominant. As a result, Lin Yuan's understanding of the Taiyang rule was much superior to that of the Taiyin rule, and now he had even comprehended the Taiyang rule first. The Taiyang rule is the sublimated rule of the fire system, symbolizing endless light and heat. The formidable 8th rank Wanyang Star-Lord from the Human Civilization Alliance was rooted in the Taiyang rule, forging her invincible path among the 8ths. Her signature move Wanyang Same Heaven, Lin Yuan remembered it well and had sublimated it to create a series of Taiyang rule-based techniques. With the Taiyang rule comprehended, my combat power and the perfection of the martial path evolutionary path have both greatly advanced. Lin Yuan appeared satisfied. Moreover, my path involves the fusion of both the Taiyang and Taiyin rules. Having understood the Taiyang rule, I am not far from fully grasping the Taiyin rule. Lin Yuan silently contemplated. The so-called way of Taiji inherently complements Yin and Yang. As Taiyang strengthens, it compensates for Taiyin, and as Taiyin fortifies, it reimburses Taiyang. This compensation is not just in power, but extends to the comprehension of rules as well. It's just that, even after fully grasping both the Taiyang and Taiyin rules, comprehending the complete space rules still seems an indefinitely long way off. Lin Yuan then turned his contemplation to the space rules. The core space models he had comprehended were still slightly over 2,000 in variety. According to human civilization's interpretation of the space rules, comprehending 7,782 core space models equates to mastering the space rules. But to comprehend these 7,782 core space models is exceedingly difficult. As a foundational rule, they almost represent the essence of the universe. Even the powerful Chikuan Star-Lord had not yet fully grasped the core space models nor mastered the space rules. Keep in mind, the Qikuan Star Lord is a starry sky wanderer Kuan, a darling of the cosmic space origin source. If even he has not comprehended it, one can imagine the difficulty involved. Take it slowly. I am still very young and have plenty of time to contemplate. Lin Yuan reined in his thoughts. With his against heaven's understanding, he had rarely encountered any significant bottlenecks on the path of rule comprehension. Even with something as vast as the space rules, given time, he will eventually grasp them. If not for the fact that his current realm was not high, Lin Yuan would even consider contemplating the rule of time. But if I were to comprehend the Tai-Yin rule and then merge it with the Tai-Yang rule, what would it become? Lin Yuan frowned slightly. Fusion with a foundational rule, such as space, time, or life, along with some ordinary rule, is one of the prerequisites for advancing from the 8th to the 9th rank. However, both the Tai-Yin and Tai-Yang rules are not foundational rules. If they were to be fused, what would be formed, the Taiji rule? Until now, Lin Yuan had never heard of a Taiji rule. Taiji is merely Lin Yuan's own definition for what might result from the fusion of Tai-Yin and Tai-Yang. The fusion of Tai-Yang and Tai-Yin, in an exact proportion, neither more nor less, could potentially result in the ultimate Taiji. Without the complete comprehension of the Tai-Yin and Tai-Yang rules, their fusion remains incomplete and the rule contact is not comprehensive, so it seems that no change has occurred. Thinking about these things now is meaningless. It's better to wait until the Tai-Yin rule is fully understood. Lin Yuan closed his eyes and resumed his cultivation. With the complete Tai-Yang rule to supplement him, Lin Yuan's comprehension of the Tai-Yin rule accelerated significantly. While Lin Yuan was immersed in cultivation, the Milky Way star region was rapidly developing. Outside the Milky Way main star, within the cosmic starry sky, two figures appeared silently. The Milky Way star region's main star. The two figures stood side by side, a man and a woman, gazing down at the massive planet below. Chapter 433 Grey Gourd, please subscribe. The man and woman both had formidable presences. They were 8th rank evolvers. The man was tall, with pupils of a sky blue color, obviously of extraordinary bloodline. The woman wore a light white robe, exuding a profound air, with silver patterns faintly visible on her forehead. This planet was originally a strategic planet of the Shadow Tribe, controlling this star domain from here. But now, it has become the main star of our human civilization. The male evolver exclaimed in admiration. To be precise, it's the main star of the Milky Way star region. That galaxy master, with his immense wealth, directly upgraded this planet to a grade B planet. The female evolver said with a smile. It was a well-known fact that the Galaxy Master was fabulously wealthy. After all, 100,000 cubic universe crystals was no small sum. A peak of the 8th rank evolver could not amass it. If Lin Yuan wasn't a top genius of human civilization, an 8th rank evolver below the age of 100, it wouldn't be possible for him to have more than 100,000 cubic universe crystals even with the celebration of advancing to the 8th rank. Those major powers and lone evolvers were not foolish. If Lin Yuan were just an ordinary evolver, they probably wouldn't even celebrate, even out of respect for the Qikuan Star Lord. At most they would give a token gesture. How could they possibly bleed wealth in their gifts? This Galaxy Master is indeed extraordinary, not only in his financial strength but also in power. Shortly after taking office, he purged this star domain of special life forms and alien lone walkers, staining his hands with the blood of at least 6 or 7 members of the 8th rank alien race. Speaking to this point, the male evolver's face showed some hesitation. I don't know if he would be willing to accept our allegiance. Besides, this Galaxy Master is very young, not yet 100 years old. If the two of us take the initiative to follow him. The male evolver voiced his true thoughts. In the 10,000 races of the cosmic starry sky, it's quite normal for the weak to follow the strong. But both of them were several tens of thousands of years old. To follow a youngster who was not yet 100 years old? In the Human Civilization Alliance, or even among other groups, once a decision to follow is made, one is completely bound to the leader. No matter what happens in the future, the connection can't be cut. Lu Ran, you care too much about face, and thus you miss out on opportunities. The female evolver beside him shook her head slightly. The Galaxy Master is too young right now, which makes it the perfect time for us to follow him. Otherwise, with the Galaxy Master's cultivation speed, by the time he's a few thousand or tens of thousands of years old, invincible at the 8th rank. Or even a 9th rank evolver, by then, he probably won't accept followers. By following him now, while others are still hesitant, will not only gain benefits but will at least have a higher status than those who follow later. The female evolver thought comprehensively. Face. Only the weak care about their face. You're right. The male evolver nodded slightly upon hearing this. He knew well the difference between offering timely aid and adding flowers to the brocade. Now the Galaxy Master had just newly advanced to the 8th rank and had just taken over a star domain. Their following him at this time could actually be of help. It was somewhat like providing timely help during a crisis. By becoming followers, we must obey the Galaxy Master's orders. Otherwise, even if the Galaxy Master kills us, the 3 goddesses will not intervene. The male evolver stated. To obtain something, one must give something. It's delusional to expect benefits without risks. The female evolver headed straight toward the Milky Way main star. Seeing this, the male evolver immediately followed. The two rapidly descended onto the star platform of the Milky Way main star. Boom, boom, boom. The planetary defense system of the Milky Way main star emitted vast fluctuations, enveloping them. A grade B planet's defense system was enough to suppress most 8th-layer powerhouses in an instant. You 2 8th rank members, what brings you here? An alien with dark red skin flew out. He examined them cautiously. 8th rank. The 2 8th rank man and woman were shocked internally. They had originally thought they would be the first to follow the Galaxy Master. To their surprise, there were already other 8th rank individuals who had followed, and this member was from a different species? We've long heard of the great reputation of the Galaxy Master, and we've come specifically to pay him a visit. The female 8th ranker immediately declared their intent. A visit to the Star Lord? The 2 of you? After pondering for a moment, the red-skinned alien said, I'll go inquire with the Star Lord. To request an audience with the Star Lord required the consent of the Star Lord himself. The red-skinned alien was not in a position to decide. A moment later, looking at the 2, Hongpi nodded and said, The Star Lord has agreed. Follow me. Shortly after, the male and female evolvers entered the palace. Lin Yuan was clad in green 8th rank armor, sitting cross-legged, engrossed in pondering the space rule model. Upon their entrance, he slowly opened his eyes. It was as if the rising sun had appeared. Lu Ran and Ruan Wei felt a dryness in their mouths and immediately said with utmost respect, We've come to see the Galaxy Master. Lu Ran, Ruan Wei. Lin Yuan spoke calmly. All 8th rank evolvers from the Human Civilization Alliance were registered, and with Lin Yuan's memory, he naturally remembered them clearly. The pair before him had stepped into the 8th rank several thousand years ago. After fulfilling their duty of guarding a star domain, they had actively relinquished their roles to journey through the universe. Guarding a star domain and becoming a Star Lord was certainly a lucrative role, but it was also like being confined within drawn boundaries. A Star Lord must remain in their star domain, or have an avatar or the original body guarding it. They could not leave, which some evolvers found hard to accept, so they do not always remain as Star Lords. We've heard that the Galaxy Master, by his own hand, cleared the star domain of all unruly different species, and we admire that, hence we have come specially to follow. You're tuning in to the Wisdom Diary YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.